everybody! Welcome to the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Down Under Invitational with Next Level Racing. The event is set to bring together some of the best Call of Duty players from Australia and New Zealand, alongside members from the Next Level Racing community for an intense competition today. We have 3 teams competing for some Next Level Racing products, including the HF8 Haptic feedback gaming pad and the Next Level Racing Elite gaming chair, leather and suede edition. So we have some really sweet stuff to show today. As I mentioned, my name's Chixa. I'm with Narski and Connie today, and I know we are just excited to bring you guys the action.
Oh, I could not be more thrilled to be a part of this, given that I'm actually from Down Under, the only one here. We've got all 3 regions covered here. I'm of course joined by my boy Connie. How are we doing as well, Connie?
Pleasure all mine, Rami. Again, very excited for the first time making my debut on the APAC region. Above all else, again, we can touch on our regions in general. I mean, listen, Chicks is from NA, you're from APAC, and I'm from EU. So really are like the Power Rangers of this regional sort of bias here, but overall very excited to be here.
Yeah, this tournament is really exciting. We have this kind of messed up double limb, single limb, upper lower bracket, best of 3s in both of our 2 first matches, and then we go to a best of 5 in our grand finals. And I know, Narski, you were spitting out some really great history and context on our teams today. I mean, what do you have for us in our first match of the day in our upper finals?
Well, it's always interesting. I mean, point blank, they are my boys. I actually used to own the org back when they started.
Ooh.
And yeah, I know, way back then, before I fully committed to casting. But it is great to see how these boys have progressed, and going from maybe a top 6 team back in the start of Cold War to then going all the way in Vanguard to making LCQ, going over into champs, proving that they were the best in the region last year, and then obviously coming into this year, they've just been the best that they can be, and they've been absolutely killing it. But yeah, to give a little background on their team, they have now Fatty and Imagine in for 2 of their players. It used to be Setsi and Limax, but unfortunately Limax chose the Warzone path. We hate to see him go, but yeah, and Setsi ended up quitting after a very long career in Call of Duty. But yeah, they've got a super team now. Fatty and Imagine both joining, have been absolutely killing it on this team, and they're looking like a very big force to be reckoned with. And we've also got Altered Edge, which is a team that's been kind of hanging around the kind of middle of the pack, but have recently been making some good strides. They went to DreamHack as well, and placed pretty well there. They performed at the LAN. Point blank, of course, taking that LAN, but that's to be expected from a team as big as them.
And when it comes to the dynamics as well for this team, you read to talk about the likes of Cronus, Kuhn, and Jars, and these guys have been a core duo for at least 2 years now, most notably, again, taking 2nd place in the Age Pacific Cup number 12 back in Vanguard, all the way back in June 2022. They've run it together all the way up through till now, and this brand new roster that we're seeing here, again, like you said, with Fatty and with Imagine, they didn't really form back in April, about a month, and their placements in general, averaging top 3, getting 2nd in Cup number 9 and 4th in Cup number 10. Really, at this point now, they're also focusing as well onto champs, onto postseason, because at this stage in Call of Duty and Tier 2, this sort of roster right now, again, has got a high level playing field and a ceiling as high as the sky.
I mean, I think you guys are kind of playing at favorites here. I see some favoritism between the 2 of you, maybe, just possibly.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
mean,
we're all
no
biased.
bias.
We're all
No bias.
Come on now.
Listen. I'm a realist. I am a realist. Look, I think the Altered Edge are a great team. I think they have the potential. They have, they have some playtime together. They're definitely a strong team, but I just can't overstate how big of an impact Point Blank are gonna have on on their debut here in the Next Level Racing tournament. But regardless, Altered Edge, they've been playing well. They have been playing as good as realistically you'd expect them to, right? They've come up out of nowhere. They formed a team, and they've been kind of making strides in the scene. So I really can't count them out. It's just you've got to look at the numbers. You've got to look on paper. Point Blank just looking a little bit stronger, but Call of Duty is the game of upsets, especially with MW2. You really cannot count a team out, and I always talk about that when I'm casting, that any team can realistically take it, and it probably will be up to the 2-3-5s coming out of Altered Edge, right? You want to see the Search and Destroys coming out for them, Trolls coming out for them. The hardpoint's going to be tough, but maybe if they can squeeze one of those in there, that'll be even better for them. But yeah, it's just Point Blank they're kind of in their honeymoon phase at the moment. They realistically got Imagine and Fatty in, and they've just been kind of working out the kind of chinks in the armor, if you will, going into this season. So Imagine was a back-to-back winner last year. So good, in fact, that everyone thought he was cheating. He just came out of nowhere. He's been in the scene for a long time, but he just came in and was basically 2v4ing Point Blank's old roster on Vanguard. So everyone was like, what is going on? What is happening? And then he now has joined forces. If you can't beat him, join him, sort of thing. And he's come on board and done really well for them. But yeah, Altered Edge, I mean, these guys have been around for a very long time as well. Some of the players, Vision has been playing for at least 3-4 years, as far as my knowledge. He's been playing really, really well. And he's just kind of formed a team with the likes of Azar, Trax, and Averse. And Averse is also a fairly kind of, sorry, not Averse, I got them mixed up. But regardless, Trax and Azar have been very new. They've been new faces. They've been playing well. Azar last year couldn't play because he had some other commitments, but now he's fully stuck into COD. He's been playing really well, so he might be able to create some upsets here from Altered Edge.
I think, and definitely when you're looking at these two teams right here, the build-up is going to be very straightforward. We're looking at Point Blank, Point Blank right now being the 3rd seed in the Oceanic region, and as well, Altered Edge sitting at number 10. So really, when it comes to the standings and your expectations right now, you've got really two different ballparks, different playing fields, because the way Point Blank have been playing all throughout the year, very consistently placing highly and are contenders for champs qualification, whereas the side of Altered Edge, like you said, although they're around for a while, they're still sort of fierce contenders, and they've got quite a mountain to climb in terms of reaching, well, at least a really good result here against Point Blank. We're going to sort of pin this as Dave versus Goliath, if you will.
I mean, talking about another possible understatement team that we won't see until the lower bracket. It's our Next Level Racing team. They're going to have I guess, I don't want to say band of misfits, because they're certainly not misfits, but just a band of people who work in the Next Level Racing community. We have like warehouse workers, we have marketing, we have everybody just coming together to play. If we're going to talk about a dark horse of all dark horses, I think they have a very much uphill battle against them. They'll play the loser of this matchup, of course, of Point Blank OC and Alter Edge. But we don't know much about these players, and that's completely fine, because they're just here to have fun. Yeah, absolutely. But why don't we get more into the nitty gritty of it? We need our map and modes. Point Blank OC picked Team A on this, and from what we saw, we have a lot of hotel. How are you guys feeling about that?
Oh, man, don't get me started on the hotels. I mean, listen, hotel is the bread and butter of Call of Duty. It's kind of not unexpected, right? If you're a team like Altered Edge, right, you're going up against a big team, a big name like Point Blank, you kind of want to feel comfortable, right? You don't really want to go an off-meta pick and try and go for something, you're not too comfortable with, because realistically, yes, you know that they're going to be very good at hotel, but you know that you're also going to be very good at hotel. So they're kind of just picking to their strengths, and that's no surprise there. Altered Edge, of course, banning Fortress, which is I think a very good choice out of them. It's going to be very difficult to go against a very coordinated team on a map like Fortress, so getting a hotel map 1 is definitely on the cards, and I think that's probably the best pick you could have asked if you're Altered Edge. Maybe going for something like Zarqwa probably wouldn't be as favorable if you were Altered Edge, but regardless, going into another hotel Search and Destroy as well, it's a double hotel.
I feel like as well, we're looking at sort of from a deeper COD level when you're picking these sort of maps and sort of coming to conclusions as players and as teams. The hotel in general tends to be the most consistent map that we've seen for Call of Duty. Remy, again, you touched upon briefly about the bread and butter and how common it is. While this map does play to that sort of standard, it's very rare you see a really funky spawn or a really, on edge break off. This map is so consistent and so understandable for every Call of Duty player, every level to really get on and enjoy. Really understand, I completely get it as well for the picks, because when it comes to Mikado or Fortress in your first map, it is very risky. Although it comes down to how well you flow as a team and mechanically how understandable if everybody is on that level of getting across the border and getting time and shading all these fundamentals together, you want to go for your hotel. Your hotel, of course, will always be that one map that you can rely on. For the S&D2 as well, I mean, again, you're sort of not really changing the geography, but instead you're sort of opting for a different sort of strategy going into that, because you're switching game modes, you're switching ideas, you're switching pacings, and after, let's say, a map 1 against a map 2, there's so much time to reset as a team. Maybe you'll see Bridge here actually come through here and do all right. But when it comes to the map 3 Elisilo, if need be. That really is where things are going to get tricky, especially with that map being one of the more popular on-meta control picks in recent Call of Duty times, especially now that we're in Stage 5 in the postseason. It's been quite surprising seeing the research of that map come into the picture, especially this late into the season.
Well, you guys threw some knowledge down on me. I was kind of losing it. No, I was totally following it the entire time. But let's get to the exciting stuff. The prizes. That's what here everybody is competing for. Of course, everyone here competing, the winner, they're going to get some next level racing products. We have the HF8 Haptic Feedback Gaming Pad, which apparently like makes you feel like you're in the game. That sounds pretty amazing to notice and just exciting. I would love to experience it. So pretty lucky whoever gets to take that home, as well as some next level racing elite gaming chairs, leather and suede edition. How could you make that any more comfortable than that? As well, during the event, we're gonna have some discounts, 5% off all next level racing products. www.nextlevelracing.com if you're in the USA. Pagian imports.com.au also has 5% off the racing gaming chairs if you're an Australian retailer, so only for Australians. So we both have, like, you know, USA and Australian benefiting from this event. Yeah.
I've also just seen as well that potentially, just a little bit of knowledge, I got a message from the coach of Point Blank. Apparently he's hopping in for some matches. So not only is that going to be fun, Jay-Z, he's been the coach for this team, and he's dropped some knowledge. He's also getting on the game, so that's going to be great. It's not only a bit of fun, but it also is, of course, not your usual player that you're playing with, so it brings Point Blank down a little bit, right? It's not going to be your optimal team. So Altered Edge, looking better by the minute to create an upset, and it'll be interesting to see. So that's probably why they banned Mercado and went for Hotel if you're Point Blank as well. It kind of favors both teams, and it's going to be very interesting. But make sure you guys use that 5% discount code and get you some products, because they look awesome. I mean, I'm thinking about getting one myself, to be honest. It sounds sick.
I feel like as well, though, when it comes to that information you've given me there, especially with the coach coming in as a substitute, just briefly touch on this now, is a really weird seesaw conversation initiating, because when the coach does come in, of course, you really want proactive coaches that go out and play with the players, or at least get some good knowledge beforehand, because the real identity of a coach when it comes to the deeper understanding of Call of Duty and getting into the game, they have to know it off the back of their hand. If they're teaching professionals, you do need that sort of level of understanding where you can trust them in that regard, but when you're not playing with the core four and someone who's coming in, it does throw chemistry off a little bit. You can struggle a little bit at times in the map, as we maybe will see at this point here in the Point Blank series for them in the situations. But overall, though, I think everyone's going to be very happy and well regarded with all these wonderful products.
Well, upset potential certainly looming with that last-minute sub. If you're a coach, then you certainly know what to do. You know, you guys, we talked about plenty. I'm ready to get into some hotel, again. We're starting up with Hardpoint. As always, casters, please take it away.
Well, it's going to be our pleasure. Hotel for map number 1 is definitely what we're expecting, right? Out of these two teams, and it'll be interesting to see where the standings are, right? Not only have you got the substitute coming in from Point Blank, but it'll be interesting to see how these two teams go head to head in, I guess, you know, the first series of the day, and seeing how Altered Edge is going to team like Point Blank. There's not a whole lot of opportunities that you get to, you know, play a team like Point Blank, and they're looking to try and make a statement.
I think when it comes to this, you do have to value lots of things at face value, because again, my first time in the region, understanding how the Call of Duty is played down here, but arguably right now, let's talk about the top level and what we do see week in, week out on different sorts of events. Really, it comes down to, again, when a team is playing at a higher level like Point Blank are, and they are consistently doing very well in placements and challenging for these upper echelon sorts of contests, you can look at them arguably as a favorite coming into this, but realistically, again, they're also going against a team that would potentially want it more. I mean, Altered Edge, like you said, have been around for such a long time. They have had many chances at this point now, and have finally formed potentially a roster which could look to be the one if need be. You do have to factor in, though, their sort of level and their sort of understanding as we look at things right now here with this Hotel Hardpoint. Remy, let's get absolutely stuck right into this.
Yeah, we see there Z, the coach. He's going to be replacing Jarzen, so that's your hard entry sub that's going to be getting taken out of the game. And honestly, probably the biggest hit that you could take if you are Point Blank, right? Corey has been the playmaker. He has been the player that really sets up a lot of these team plays, so it will be interesting to see. Altered Edge already coming in, and then are able to get some good points on P1 and set themselves up nicely now as Fatty tries to get some more of these picks.
Good as well for Altered Edge because they are in fact locking in spawns P2 to try to get the P1 time. So really are initiating a tandem here where you need to get lane control initially because Point Blank can funnel in through the top side of the map as you're seeing now. Number 3 there, Fatty, you can just slot on through and try and get some control of the back spawns because again, the 1v1 you want to focus on as well off of this, well, the end of P1 is the initial gunfights here for spawns, which you're going to see now coming up.
Yeah, this is big. You already see the wrap coming through for P2. Some big gunfights coming in. Vision able to find one, but the trade is good. So at least you've got Commodore. And he's actually using the Lockman AR. It's something that I have not seen in a very long time. I don't know why he's going for that, but maybe trying to catch them off guard a little bit. And still, Altered Edge holding strong, able to get a big chunk of time here. They're able to make a little bit of an impact now as they get this P2 time and potentially try and look on to create a little bit of turmoil in the Point Blank camp.
Very strong for Altered Edge so far. Definitely impressive getting 6 seconds and nothing on time for the ball for Point Blank. Even in the first 2 hills, you're now starting to see the pressure being applied from Point Blank, but realistically speaking now, they haven't really found the gunfights nor the confidence to achieve those sorts of wins for a long part here now, because again, after scrap type now, Point Blank have to play it pretty perfectly, and now you're seeing Cronus Kun wrap around the back of the kitchen, already initiating the push here for the gunfight heading into kitchen, because realistically now, Point Blank, although they've given up scrap time here, realistically needs to try and chain a lot of time after Money Hill through these points.
Yeah, look at Fatty now, trying to make the entry. It's a very difficult hill to break, but they're going to try their best already as they're getting dropped off screen. Still, a nade might cost them a little bit of trouble as the team kill comes through as well. That'll be a good entry. That's 3 down now for Altered Edge, and they get themselves set in. This is going to be very tough for Altered Edge to try and break in and try and counter this Point Blank hold.
Look at this right now again. Point Blank have been very well in defense here. Huge win there from Cronus because now at this point it's going to chain a wonderful wave of kills. Despite a slight pinstripe there, Audio now need to funnel in through the front side to try and break this.
Already big kills back and forth. Still Point Blank holding strong. This is a big chunk of time if you can grab it. Already the play's still going towards New, and they're going to try and lock this in. Trax could do some damage as well, being set up here nice and pushed up, but still Point Blank just going to grab this scrap and push over towards New and recollect.
Look at this up though already from All Ego. Very spread across the map here. We're relying a lot of tandem here, especially between Azure and Vision, because you're covering the main crossfire here and the main choke point through mid. That's where Point Blank really can funnel through and find some damage.
Yeah, they're playing a little bit of pickup here now. Point Blank trying to get themselves back in the game. Coming out a little bit colder than Altered Edge. Kind of getting caught off guard a little bit, but only 27 points, I guess, differentiating them. And this is a play that I've been very excited to see Azar as he's progressed. He has been a very good sub throughout his very short career. He only started, I believe, last year, and he's already been making waves in this scene and been playing well. So we'll see how he continues to hold up as he finds a nice 2. And just as I highlight him, he goes big for the side of Altered Edge, and still they hold strong. They're able to get the ARs flying, the heads popping off, and they're able to get a lot of time locked in here on P4. Some
great lines there as well from Mortal Ego. Every single line sight was held and every single kill was formed. And that Point Blank needs to respond here from a wonderful front break. If need be, though, it's going to be very aggressive.
Big stuff coming through. Imagine continuing to lock in this time and at least get a bit of scrap. This is a player that you can't allow to be by himself. He can do damage, especially if you get the rest of Point Blank pushing up towards New, which they are already. Fortunately, just a little bit behind the 8 ball here against Altered Edge. Already the nade kill grabbing one. It'll be Vision grabbing the other. We've got one player left, and it's Fatty pushed up towards double, and he'll get dropped as well. So that is huge for Altered Edge to keep pressing the pace and get themselves over towards New. But still, you've got to imagine Christopher Darabay, the AR of all ARs, he gets aggressive with it. He'll be able to do some big, big damage as Commodore gets dropped, and Point Blank find themselves a way in.
They are down 55 points right now, Raymond, to be fair. Point Blank have not been looking very strong for the majority of the first set rotations here. Especially with Auto Ego, they are playing so well for lane control and even fighting for the close spawns. And off the back of this, they're capitalizing so well, hitting from the front, winning every 50-50. The gunfights are simply theirs to meet.
Nice 2-piece. Cronus Kun trying to lock things down, cover up the mid. This is one thing. He's a very slow player, very slow main AR, but once he's posted up, he is almost impossible to get out of his position. You see here, Vision's fighting for some scraps here on this time, but won't really come through as they're trying to get the help, but still. Kills fall the way of Altered Edge, and they're continuing to grab some good time here as they go over towards New. And this is what we're talking about, Connie. If you're Altered Edge, you want a comfortable map like Hotel to play on. It'll be very, very interesting to see how they're going to continue to perform. Z, the coach, not having a great time.
Not at all, but this is a great 3-player setup here as well. Maybe some initiation might be key here for Z. I mean, collect time by yourself at this point with 2 players playing kills on the outside. You really have to funnel through at least one exit there onto entry, and that's where a huge one between Z and Trax take place here. Especially when the break for Altered Edge has not been looking very strong here. Map's been split so calmly. Maybe we'll find some time here.
Altered Edge continuing to find themselves the breaks the way through. Kamado with the Lockman is not going to get the success he was looking for now as Trax pushes over towards Kitchen. He's able to try and cut some of these backline players, but still Point Blank chipping away this time, looking to try and get at least some more value out of this hill, soak it up for all it's worth, and potentially look to even things up going into the second set of rotations. But Cronus Kun is now in the point, and he's able to clean up a nice 2. This is very, very dangerous for Altered Edge as they come over to the second set of rotations. You've had the lead, you've dropped it, you need to continue finding success here.
Big wave of kills there from Point Blank, and now Altered Edge have to reset here off of a 4-person setup on the mid, and it's going to be such a hard crossfire to break as well. The way Altered Edge have to try and at least get through here is by hitting double arches and coordinating util, but the way Point Blank play, again, it's just great counter aggression. They're hitting through every single lane and just flooding points of entry, where Altered Edge have to clear so many corners off of their respawns.
Look at Imagine now, push up towards box. Still going to grab as much time as he can here solo. He's got a bit of help here now. With Vision pushing towards the double arches. His other player gets caught in the crossfire. And now it's up to Cronus Kun to try and press the aggression. But he's got an AR. It's no match for the sub. And he'll get dropped. So this is going to be very difficult now as Point Blank need to try and toss up if they're going for P2 spawns or not. And Z is going to be the player that is going to try and press the attack. The coach, the goach, if you will, for this squad. Now trying to continue to find a way through the backline. And he might have to just play his life. An AR versus sub is not a great engagement to take.
Right now, Altered Edge have a positioning here to get initial, but look at this big back push here from Point Blank. The gunfights need to be won, but positioning and smoke will cover up most of Altered Edge players. And now at this point here, it's going to be a clear wipe and main control here for initial. Altered Edge looking very strong, despite Point Blank's one crossfire setup here as well. But then again, though, breaking from the front, very difficult. Very, very difficult indeed.
Difficult, but they're going to try and do it. Unfortunately, the Lockman AR, it's the first time I'm seeing it. It's blowing my mind, Connie, but he's making it work. 15 and 13, having a very strong game right now on that AR position. Now as Fatty tries to push towards the back, get himself away through with the sub. Still 30 seconds left of time that you can grab, and he doesn't check the right angle, unfortunately for him. Z gets away through, though, but it's not enough to deal with all the players from Altered Edge, and another P2 hold from Altered Edge will grab them a big chunk of time and put them back in the game.
Yeah, but Point Blank have already won at least one rotation here initially, 4v3. So despite breaking even, especially off of that hill, shading the next one's going to be so hard as well, because look at the spread. You're seeing Fatty all the way down the south side of the map, and then 3 players from Point Blank just stacking kitchen, watching every single exit, every single choke point. And they need to come faster from Altered Edge, want to break on through. But Z, playing Snakes, is doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's slowly but surely getting himself back in the game. Z on the sub, sorry, trying to fill in for Jars. And it's big shoes to fill, but he's trying to do his best. Still, big chunk of time here for Point Blank being grabbed. They are going to continue to hold this kitchen hill, and still no way through for Altered Edge. Kamado with the Lockman AR is going to try and find one of these engagements, but he's just going to wait for the cavalry, wait for the enforcements as he gears up for a big, big push. As Imagine now tries to get on the action. Not going to be enough as he drops the first gunfight, though. Vaddy with the help. Now in the back line, I don't know if he's able to get a second, but it would be huge. The pinch coming through, and it's so difficult to deal with both of these players now as all of Altered Edge just drop like flies in that kitchen hill as they try and dash towards New.
That's so impressive, because right now Point Blank do have a charisma style online. Looking for a second as Fatty's on a 5 spree. This completely opens up the real can of worms that are trying to pour onto Altered Edge. But looking at the scoreboard right now, 230 to 195, where as soon as Point Blank cross that mark, Coronas is going to call in the cruise missile. Although the connection doesn't find anything, 2 clear kills in the feed, do initiate scrap time, but initial might get away with Altered Edge.
Another streak getting called in, not going to quite find anything, but Altered Edge have got themselves a way through. They're at least in the time momentarily somehow, though. Point Blank still pressing the attack. You've got Fatty up top. He's on the 7 streak. He's got the AR, but the shot's not landing quite how you'd expect. Altered Edge continuing to tick away time here, and if they're able to grab majority of it, they'll be setting themselves up nicely to try and sweep Point Blank here. Another streak getting called in for Point Blank. I mean, I don't know how many they had up their sleeve, but they're continuing to fly them into this point, and still no value being had. Z's only able to grab 1 on the entry, and you see the patch-up work that they're doing. Altered Edge continuing to trade each other out and hold strong on this time. They need to try and find a break if you're Point Blank. You can't afford Altered Edge to be 10 points away from victory coming off this hill.
Impressive there from Azza as well, finding 4 clear kills, which definitely resets the mental for Point Blank. And at this point, a huge play call needs to come in, because after the chain of deaths there, a setup needs to be formed now on the brand new hill. But looking at the way Altered Edge are playing here, the lanes of access are so clear, and the gunfights are going to be set up so early, you might actually see clear elevation. Unless Fatty can find a clear kill, Point Blank need to go big here.
Z He gets himself in, the coach. He's trying to hold strong, but it's not going to be easy. You've got so many players to deal with. He's only able to find the one. Shots go out, tries to pull out the AR. That'll get the job done. The nades start to finish things off, but he's already done so much damage. It's all up to Trax now to try and hang on for dear life, but Altered Edge now struggling under the weight of Point Blank as they try and end off this first map, and it is much closer than they would have liked. Altered Edge continuing to try and hang on for dear life. They will find the entry. I don't know how. They found so many impactful kills. They're able to trade each other out, and now Point Blank on the chopping block. 5 points is all that separates these two teams. It's going down to the wire, Connie, and they don't have enough reinforcements. Somehow, some way, Altered Edge make it happen, and Point Blank will fall in map number 1. I was expecting this to be a 2-0 towards Point Blank, but Altered Edge making the upset here.
From start to finish, it was a very scrappy game. I think both teams sort of made impactful plays, but at the same time, did not weigh up the options. A lot of 50-50 trades and a lot of 50-50 calls. The sacrifices simply were not greater for the good, as Point Blank do fall by 4 points, especially when Fatty's going 37 and 17 right there as well. 29 non-traded and 4k damage. That player single-handedly for Point Blank was keeping it alive, but single-handedly, the teamwork of Altered Edge was too good to bear. And as this huge 4-piece as well in the hill leading up to the closeout was at least the start of the downfall. You feel like again when it came to that last tilt, it was so scrappy and so contested, could have gone either way. And you'd think as well, with the amount of pressure and the amount of elevation the subs had inside of Point Blank, playing positions where they could catch the initial entry from the side of Altered Edge off guard simply was not to be.
Yeah, I know Z's now desperately calling up Jars, and he's begging him, come home, please. I need the sub back in, but still Altered Edge now sweeping Point Blank off their feet there in the map number 1, going down to the wire, 4-point differential, but they get it done. That is a huge map for Altered Edge to kick things off, and now going to the search and destroy. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, but you know, Point Blank, they've been working on their S&D. It was probably their weakest game mode at the start of the season. Now coming into this later portion of the season, they have been really working on it. They've been going through strats. They've had Z, the coach himself, going through a lot of these S&D strats coming up to Toronto, and I'm expecting to see them play a lot better in their search and destroys. But Altered Edge might look good here to try and take this and make an upset.
I think the way Altered Edge played that first map as well, they did have moments in time where it was incredibly strong. That 60-point lead at the start did not go unnoticed. It was very, very much a case of how did things slip away and how did the picture pan out for Point Blank. Well, it was down to lots of individual plays, especially between Cronus, Kuhn, and Fatty. The tandem and the ability as well to get 2 streaks on the board, despite not having the regularity of finding the way to get forward and get more time and even establish a lead back. Just to show you how Altered Edge played it. It really was a case of playing a lots of lane-to-lane, wall-to-wall gunfights to near perfection and isolating those important moments of engagement to really give loads of freedom for map control on their side.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Fatty just slaying out. I mean, 37 and 17 is a terrifying stat line to behold. So I don't really know where it went wrong in the Point Blank camp, but, you know, you just can't be affording to drop maps like that. And Altered Edge are going to make them pay 246 to 250, a great stat line to kick things off. The Hotel Search and Destroy is where it might get interesting for me to see these two teams go head-to-head. I felt like if there was any game mode for Altered Edge to be more favored on, it would be Search and Destroy, and that's what we're going to see here. Map number 2. They've squeezed in the hard point. Now they need to try and get the Search and Destroy. It's going to be very, very difficult if you're Altered Edge.
I mean, right now, if you're Altered Edge, though, you are coming off of at least a map 1 win, which is definitely an overachievement in terms of the regularity and the on-paper sort of manifesto we have here regarding these two teams. But I'll tell you what, right now, when the S&D comes, like I said, it roars. And you have to really evaluate 2 clear things. You know, how can they reset off of this fantastic win? And what really the playbook, how can it pan out in the mid to latter rounds? Because Call of Duty S&D, you spend a lot of the first 4 rounds figuring out the other team's strategies, really analyzing the gameplay at hand and the way they counter off the opposition. But realistically speaking, those top tier teams will have a deep playbook. They can play different setups at different times. And above all else, just keep the realism, keep the holds there, and respect points of contact where if a retake's needed, you're still going to win it anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'd be surprised, honestly, to see, well, I guess I am surprised to see Point Blank really, really struggling there, even with the help of Jay-Z. It just goes to show that Altered Edge have really brung themselves back up and have really kind of picked up the ball since the LAN, right? Point Blank played at the LAN. I think they dropped 2 maps throughout the entire thing, which is a crazy stat line. Best of 5s. I think they played maybe 6 matches. So that's a very impressive stat line. Now we're seeing Altered Edge here go into the Search and Destroy. It'll be very interesting to see map number 2.
It's a very passive setup here from Point Blank. Everyone coming every lane across the map, but Altered Edge here funneling through 1 point of contact is going to be incredibly impressive they can execute. At this point now, you are playing risk and reward. As it's a clear 2 for Z, you do want to make sure, again, at this point, bomb is going to be floated and called for a different site.
Wow, and just like that, look at the strategy coming out from Point Blank. It all kicks off. Z's able to get a freak 2-piece down there in Freezer. Imagine they have to help, and beautiful stuff out of Point Blank in round number 1.
I think when you're looking into the real point of contact here, it was a good idea from Altered Edge. I really do like the idea of sending 4 to 1 site, despite even having it in favor, not really knowing the setup on Point Blank. It was so spread, but as soon as point of contact comes in, the players from Point Blank will just completely rendezvous and collapse, and that's where Altered Edge really couldn't come to at least a formality. They couldn't really clear every single corner, and they couldn't really clear players off the points of entry when they were trying to get onto site because they had 2 dead in the feed. It was really difficult to try and execute something after that, but realistically, it's still a bold strategy off the rip.
Yeah, big stuff out of Z for that round number 1. The Goach coming through 3-0. Now the sniper coming in through Fatty. Will he be able to get the pick? He doesn't spot the player. Go towards box, and Kamado makes him pay. That'll be the first blood for Altered Edge now as they set up towards their site. But a good trade coming out from Imagine. Now, a 3 versus 3 ensues, and they're going to swing this bomb towards A. But look at the Altered Edge players. They think it's a B. This is a free site now for Point Blank.
And why wouldn't you if you're Altered Edge? You have no real idea of about the last 2 players lurking. So everyone that's tracks to try and find contact.
Oh, but Cronus couldn't aiming him up. The snipe not quite connecting. The dead silence pop now for Cronus as well. He's going to slam open the doors, but Imagine's under some heavy fire. He's getting pinched from both sides. He has no idea about it as Trax tries to find at least one of these players, but he is under heavy engagement as well. It's just a pinch on both sides. Vision able to find one. Cronus finds the other, and it's a back and forth action. The sides flipped, but you still have that time to worry about. The bomb is ticking down. 24 seconds left on the clock now, and Vision is going to try and be the first engager here on the site, but you've still got Cronus to deal with.
It's going to be a very hard retake here for Altered Edge. 2v2 though, the great pinch. Zido has clear check on bomb, and now turns it into 1v1. Cronus needs to play time here, which he can do so effectively. Again, a simple check is all it needs, all it's going to take, but despite it all, get shots down through the trolley, and Point Blank get another round converted there on the board. Remy, simply gorgeous, and now we get 2-0 so far in this map.
Yeah, that's beautiful stuff out of Point Blank. Z as well with the route. Just can't teach those things. Must be all the time playing, or I guess observing as the Goach.
Oh, yeah.
So he's able to get himself through at the back, and he just spots the opening.
I think when it comes to S&D, it's a lot slower game mode, so coaches, if they do something, will have a much easier time, I'd say, figuring out the pacing and even predicting, because although the time is spent more or less focusing on the respawn game modes, when you do come to the S&D, I mean, listen, it's very difficult to tell for Altered Edge, really, with Point Blank, or what they're going to do. If they would have done FOD review and footage, having a new player come in on side Point Blank is going to be really challenging for Altered Edge to adapt to.
But already getting the bomb down. Fatty as well with the sniper looking to try and get the cross. Vision will fall. And now he will not get the bomb down. So the rest of the team struggling to try and re-stabilize. Second kill dropping as well as Cronus couldn't find Trax. That's a 2 versus 4 now. Azza and Kamado left in the 2 versus 4. He's pushed up though. Azza has a very good position. Could do some damage. But still, going to be very difficult to try and weed out these players. Imagine just swings. He finds the kill. And now it's all left up to Kamado with the Lockman AR. Will he be able to do it?
Difficult right now. 1v4 has to collect bomb. But at this point, when you're playing points of contact, clearing every angle is so important. But getting shots down is even more better. He will find one, but getting the nade off onto the second will only initiate more instances where we do see this potentially come to light. 1v2 now, Remy, especially for the round here, but 30 seconds left. Very difficult to try and execute this when, again, bomb is so far away.
Yeah, you've only got 30 seconds on the clock. Bomb's down on A, they know where it is, and you've got to deal with 2 players, Cronus Kun and Fatty. Cronus Kun is on a streak as well, so if he can continue grabbing that, that'll be huge. As he tries to reposition, he knows exactly where Kamado's coming from. It's a big gunfight, goes to the Ego Trail, but now he's just playing time. 10 seconds left, Fatty just has to survive. Kamado goes into his sights, and he will drop, so Point Blank take another round on the board. It's 3-0 now against Altered Edge.
Still very strong there as well from Altered Edge, because realistically 1v4, the isolated kills there through mid were very impressive from Kamado. You would think after the first kill, the second would be even harder to get, because realistically speaking, clearing all the angles in mid and even double arches, still managed to find shots and still managed to at least get it done. But the one impending doom factor, again, initially, first off, the team getting wiped, and then after that, having to collect bomb with 25 seconds left after the 2 kills were made. It really is going to be difficult, especially when you're entering on open sites. That's how Hotel plays out, and that's what we know and love, especially in this Call of Duty iteration. But right now, Point Blank committing towards A. Altered Edge there with the mid push might be a great counter.
Already Trying to get pushed up, get aggressive. Razor on the cross, not able to find the kills, but does get a bit of info for his team. So now we see the bomb continuing to try and work its way over towards the A site. But look at Z snaking through. He's able to find 2. That's huge from the Goat. Now, as he continues to play this old desk, 1 gets taken back from Trax, but still a 2 versus 3 will not amount to too much as he gets finally taken down. But Cronus Kun in the back line has to be dealt with. The dive from Imagine, and somehow he's able to find that kill and point blank continue to sweep. And I said that they've been working on their S&Ds, and it's paying off here. This map number 2.
Very strong S&Ds as well. Even with a substitute player, they are definitely outclassing Altered Edge here in such a convincing fashion. You really just have to look at the way Altered Edge have played it though for the most part. I think lots of their extensions through the mid portion have costed them a man advantage early on. And the way that, you know, Point Blank have played these last 4 rounds consecutively, you have to look at the amount of 43s and 42s they get off the rip. Altered Edge simply sprinting to spots where they're initiating early 1v1s, playing lots of wide peaks and playing lots of dry peaks where simply it's not paying off. The original 4-person strat at the start was their best effective moment, at least to try and break through, and now we're seeing it again.
As a pushes through to Rogues. Will he find Z? Or will Z find him? It's gonna be the first one. Z gets dropped, and now Cronus just continuing to snake with this kitchen play. He gets taken down as well. The Vaznev having so much value on this map so far for Razor and Vision. They're able to grab 2 big picks, and now it's up to Imagine and Fatty to try and restabilize, find themselves a way through, but they do not care. They just chill outside, and now it's all left up to Fatty with a scope. I don't know how, but somehow Point Blank really struggling here as we see Fatty doing some trick shots, trying to find one of these kills, and it's going to be very difficult.
So difficult indeed. I think Fatty has to respect the fact that it is not winnable. Unless these players start to completely jump out of the blue here. 24 seconds left. A simple check needs to come in for the side of Altered Edge. Fatty, though, at this point, is just playing keeps, playing for the kills. But even off that, another one comes in. It's very convincing as Altered Edge, with 14 seconds left, need to swing and need to check. It might just be a case now of playing your kills, playing your lives, checking the bomb, and it works out in favor. It's still there. I think Altered Edge, even off the setup there and 4 players alive, did play too static. Did not at least hear the audio cues and play the coordinated team swings, because realistically speaking, it just shows signs a little bit where they have to at least try and be more proactive, because against a team like Point Blank, they will punish you.
Yeah, exactly right. You can't afford to make mistakes against a team like this. Even with the Goat subbing in, still got a very difficult team to deal with. Now go through at 4-0 down. You grabbed your 1 round. You've tried to get the momentum back, but still 1-4. It's not great. It's not ideal. So Point Blank on the attack now, looking to try and swing this towards A, but the bomb actually staying completely in the middle of the map. This is a very interesting play. I don't know why they've just placed it down in single, but I guess the bomb's just going to live there for now, and it's just not as bomb site Point Blank. I don't know why they've done that.
Really speaking, now as the trades do collapse on, I think right now if you're on the side of Altered Edge, you need to play some information. I think number 3 Commander does check that bomb is lying down prone, and as the players do collapse on, really you are seeing lots of spacing here between the map, and especially Point Blank opting for a much wider spread, and it does bunch the players of Altered Edge together now in situations where they can isolate single players, but the collapse is forever impending right now. 45 seconds left on the board.
Yeah, now the bomb finally finding its way onto his side. A 2 versus 3 is what they're left with. Fatty continuing to snake this out with the sniper and sub. Dual welding, the overkill back when that was allowed in the game. But still, as now trying with the stun, trying to get the kill. He will find it. So Fatty drops now a 2 versus 2, but 34 seconds left on this bomb is ticking down. You need to try and find some big value here, and I don't know how easy it's going to be. As it tries to swing towards Cronus Kun, but that's a very impactful heady for an AR, and he's going to try and cut him off. Some good routing, but as it comes out on top, that's going to be huge now. 1 versus 2. Z in his sights. Z is trying to lock things down, but this Lockman just being too impactful. Z needs to get the bomb, needs to check it, but it's not planted for him, and that will be the round. Altered Edge continuing to hang on here and grab 2 rounds straight.
I think as well, looking at the 2v2, Altered Edge played it simply gorgeous. I mean, the setup as well, and Cronus Kun playing in Penthouse, you had another option if you decided of Altered Edge other than expect the challenge and try and eliminate it, make it in a much easier situation. 25 seconds on the board, finds the kill onto Cronus, and at that point, it is going to be wraps. You have to make sure at this point, if you see that you're checking bomb and you're playing it as well. I think the only real thing that would have maybe changed that around if utility was still in hand for Z, or at least it was thrown onto site. The checks had to come in, but still, the pressure from Altered Edge there was really good that round. Now it's 2-4.
Trax in the mid. It's a very interesting attack coming out from Altered Edge. Look at the defense from Point Blank, but it's going to be Z getting over aggressive as it makes another player pay for it as well. Cronus Kun going to drop, and now you can see a 3 versus 4, 2 I was about to say, coming out, but Kamado able to get 1 more. Now it's Fatty left at the 1 versus 3 in the clutch yet again. His patient play might cause him to to be left with it all on his shoulders now. 1 versus 3.
Difficult now as well. It's a retake on 1 versus 3, and 2 players stacked in penthouse, 1 on bomb. It's a great setup for AutoEdge to get some damage done, but off the counter strafe and even off the crossfire, it was going to be, of course, a round win to the side of AutoEdge. As now it does wrap up 3-4 here. The way the rounds really are panning out for the side of Point Blank is very, very different, especially from the first portion of this map, Remy, where we did see them look so dominant and take it 4-0 into the lead. Right now, we are seeing some great counters in situations where the script is completely flipped on its head. The side of Point Blank, really, they're giving us so many easy first bloods. It's difficult to watch at times because originally when you rely on Cronus, Kurd, and Imagine, especially with the AR presence they have to get forward and lock off these lanes, AutoEdge are just picking them apart bit by bit. So really, this round has to be an aggressive one and a commitment towards a site. Off the point of contact and detonates, though, we're going to see exactly positioning after this round.
Azar continuing to try and hold the cross. And you see Trax in bottom. Secret, he's able to find the pick onto Z. The bomb down in a very difficult position, but somehow Crow's just going to sweep it up. He's going to try and run now into top bedroom, and he might be able to get a good route with this dead silence play, but he has no idea where to go, nowhere to run. He's going to go through Cat, try and open up the map a little bit, but still, it's not going to be easy to try and find a way through, and he's just running into the back line. I don't know why no players have picked him up. Number 3 is hot on his tail, but he might be able to get this pick. A good read from Trax, a good comm, I should say. Now as Fatty tries to line this up and find the trade.
Still, if Fatty can't really get much information other than one player chilling in penthouse. AutoEdge here at this point, though, have got all the numbers here to try and coordinate a great crossfire. Penthouse will populate almost instantaneously as Point Blank is going to fight from the front here and try and stick this.
It's going to be big, but it's not going to be big enough. AutoEdge continuing to grab 4 rounds straight, I believe. And now Point Blank looking like they're on the back foot here to go down into the losers bracket. And this could be dire times for Point Blank. You had such a lead. You got overzealous, over-aggressive, overconfident. Now, AutoEdge are making you pay. 4-4 evened up. 1 round separating a match point now. Who will come out on top? Point Blank just looking a little bit shaky now under the pressure.
Definitely right now, as we're seeing AutoEdge here take this to a very convincing scoreline at 4-4. Now the rounds do have your backs pressed against the wall here. Point Blank really are feeling the pressure, especially now on the defensive side. The spread here is going to be very even. Across every single lane, a player's going to populate a lane, but AutoEdge here committing towards A in the open. But like so much on fact with the sniper rifle. It does spot one, but also information. AutoEdge here can opt to rewrap or fake.
Fatty just wondering when to let this shot fly. Azza just teasing him a little bit, poking his head over the top. Fortunately, though, not going to find the kill. And Cronus continuing to snake, but he gets the worst timing I think he's ever seen. He's going to be molding over that one. He gets dropped now at 3 versus 4. AutoEdge continuing to press the attack. Z's only able to find 1 on the engagement now. All left up to the one player that has been in the clutch time and time again, Fatty. And he will get dropped. AutoEdge now take us to a match point, 5-4. That's 5 straight. Point Blank having no signs of life here in the search and destroy at the end of this half.
It's been so impressive and so clear-cut. Their pacing and their tempo is simply gorgeous. Point Blank can't match it. And as well as that, the lane awareness and pressure awareness to boot is really good in the mid-round because they are adapting to different bomb sites. Even when the looming threat of Fatty's sniper rifle was checking players as well, watching over the cross and even initiating potentially an idea for a full stack onto A. They played a mid-route perfectly as a team. They find a kill with the Cronus and it just opens up the backside where they can get into kitchen and execute a site plant. Because right now, off this, Point Blank are very much on the back foot here. AutoEdge in the driving seat now heading into this potentially final round for this series.
Yeah, they get the first blood, but you've got to be aware that Azza has the streak. So Azza needs to play his life here if you want to try and secure this win in this round. He's at least able to get the trade onto Fatty. So you're left at a 3 versus 3. You've got Z up in top bedroom. Azza's in a very, very difficult position, but he has nowhere to look. He's going back and forth. Imagine now just posted up, trying to pressure out Azza. This is a very, very difficult situation to be in if you're AutoEdge.
So difficult right now as well. As this bomb will get planted, and other players from either side are going to budge really, other than the small wrap here from Visions through the back. But now as it aggresses forward, Azza still on the spree, will get dropped, and now numbers are going to favour Point Blank for the most part, but still 35 seconds to hold this retake. The players right now all bundled together on the south side of the map. A is going to be covered and boxed in, other than maybe Vision's huge crossfire here that can initiate a big wrap from Kamado. This is a great idea from AutoEdge. They're going to try and pincer from either side here, but 24 seconds left in the time. Not enough to try and execute something. It needs to go fast, it needs to fly.
Oh, he's going in quick. Imagine does fall, but you've just got to check at 7.5. You've got to have a player left. Cronus couldn't running for dear life. He's hot on his tail. Will he be able to find the pick? Cronus could continuing to try and get the bomb check. He knows no one's on it. Z just has to get this kill now. He's not going to find it. Wait, that might have done it. I don't think that they got there in time. And Altered Edge, I got a 7-point break down. What have I just seen, Gotti? Everything has just exploded. I thought that they had that in the bag, but they do enough. They get it done, and now point blank, you've got to see Next Level Racing in the bottom half of this bracket, and you would not have expected to see that in your wildest dreams. Altered Edge was 6 rounds straight. They just outplayed, outclassed, and outperformed point blank there, and now our poor graphics designer has to whip up another graphic.
Oh, definitely as well. Coming into this, you'd think Altered Edge, might be a bit outclassed here, especially on seeding and based on performances in the APAC region, but this is simply not to be. They've played wonderful on both hotels, and realistically speaking, coming into the picks and bans for this one, you would have to put fire versus fire here, especially in a map where the map mode combinations, everyone's so linear, they understand each other's games, and even more than that, it's going to be more predictable to get those fundamentals in check, especially when you're picking spawns, knowing routes, understanding timings. Altered Edge, for the last 6 rounds, played it beautifully, but really it was their lane control. That really is what separates them between point blank, especially in the mid round. And off the back of that as well, you have to commend Kamado and Azza for their tandem. They had different moments in time where really the performances spoke for themselves. It initiated great teamwork and chemistry. Altered Edge had instant man advantage. They were playing situations almost off of the front foot rather than the back foot. And that really initiated lots of situations. But that last round there, when it came to the nade and the check, it really was heartbreaking for point blank. Because in terms of Call of Duty, especially with physics, you would hope that it connects and it kills. Because that solid was the reliance there. Z had the idea, was not to be. And Altered Edge convincingly take a 2-0 here against point blank in what is an upset for not just this tournament, but for APAC Call of Duty in general.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough. I don't want to take anything away from Altered Edge. They've played phenomenally. You've still got Imagine, Cronus, and Fatty. That is not a team to go up against. Of course, Z, but in my point is the fact that they have their core 3 still, so they know how they need to play. They have just dropped the ball completely, and Altered Edge have made them pay. But still, I mean, Z, you got to think that Z taking out Jarzen is going to be a big hit to point blank, but they are not able to handle it very well. Altered Edge doing a phenomenal job here in this first series to send point blank against Next Level Racing's team, the staff on their Smoko, looking to try and get a good series in. But regardless, Altered Edge with a phenomenal run there, 240 to 256, 250 to 246, sorry, and a 4-6 search and destroy win. Beautiful stuff.
It's convincing, but not just as well is it going to be really convincing to watch, but I think the way that the side of Altered Edge played this, it was so high level at points. I really think the way they were adjusting as well in the non-respawn game modes and that tac shooter S&D, you could tell, especially the knowledge of the game alongside the geography of the map, it really worked in great tandem because they were eliminating wonderful first bloods after the first 4 rounds on the side of point blank. But really, what could have been a different side of this coin as well, despite the substitute coming in for the side of point blank, you still would have given them chances. I mean, the free core players are still there. I just have to sort of commend and have to sort of raise the questions as to how the hard point ended. And in point blank, we're losing those 4 points. And despite having control, the last break attempt that we did see from Altered Edge, it came through and they held on for the last 12 seconds. They had the crossfire set up there. The breakout from Kitchen wasn't enough and it just simply was to be. The S&D though, you'd think, oh, maybe they come back and get control. Despite winning 4 rounds, Altered Edge, so you know what, we're going to win 6.
Yeah, I mean, they just clapped back, and it was an impressive feat for Altered Edge for sure. But just a reminder to everyone that there is a 5% discount code for the Next Level Racing products. Just go to nextlevelracing.com if you are outside of Australia, and pagnian.com, I believe, if you are in Australia. So
that's right.
Make sure you get that if you're looking for some good products. I mean, I'm sure that these Altered Edge guys are sitting up in their HF8 Haptic gaming chair or something to do that impossible feat. It was very, very impressive. But regardless, we're going to take it to a short break as we get our next series underway. Don't go anywhere, guys.
We're going to be checking out the HF8, a haptic gaming pad from Next Level Racing. Don't forget to click the link in the description to enter the giveaway where you could win one of these for yourself. Go beyond the sounds in gaming, music, and movies. Introducing the Next Level Racing HF8 haptic feedback gaming pad. Feel the immersive haptic experience with the 8 strategically placed vibration zones that are powerful and localized for precision. The Next Level Racing HF8 is optimized for different simulation games for a unique in-game experience. The HF8 suits all gaming chair, racing, flight, seat styles, and bodies comfortably for the best user experience. The HF8 includes plug-and-play PC software to provide you a multi-channel experience without the need of additional sound cards or amplifiers. Alright, so everything is set up for this bad boy. We're gonna give it a go. I am playing Call of Duty. I'm probably gonna hop into some multiplayer to see how it feels. And oh my god, I can feel it as I'm just scrolling through the main menu. Alright, so I'm searching for a game. We'll see how far we get with this. Very interested to see how much it picks up from the game, whether it's just the gunfire or if it's very sensitive to like footsteps, like little things in the game. Oh my god, it's so sensitive. It's actually so good. Literally every single gunshot is giving me feedback. Every single sound in this, footsteps, gunshots, everything is coming up with this. It's so good. Oh my god. This is actually incredible. It's actually incredible. This thing is actually so cool. It's really giving like a complete different experience. It's literally picking up every single little detail, from the footsteps to the gunshots, my teammates that are speaking. It's completely changing my Call of Duty experience.
Mission complete. Keep fighting. Changing max. Hostile UAV in the area. UAV standing by.
So where they just spawn there?
UAV standing by.
I'm out of ammo. Even as I walk through the gas, it's giving me feedback. This is crazy.
Copy. UAV orbiting the AO. They tagged me. This is Phoenix 2. Phoenix 2-3 copy. Phoenix 2-3 copies all. Phoenix 2-3 is going down. I say again, we are going down. Be advised, UAV. On station. Switching max. UAV online. Our UAV
It literally picks up every detail. You lying in a bush for?
Changing max.
Even when I'm flashed, that's so funny. Beautiful. My first win with the gaming card.
And we're also right back. Hi guys, how is everybody doing? What a banger
Pretty good.
of a first matchup. I mean, We came out expecting Point Blank to just dominate. We had a little bit of surprise with Coach Jay-Z coming in. He struggled. They started off so strong in the second map. Well, I mean, second map, but it was just Hotel again. And then they lost 6 straight to end up losing it. Now they have to play again. They pick it right up, but they're against the next level racing team. The one, the only, the band of people that all just work at Next Level Racing here to compete and have fun. You know, I mean, Connie, I'm going to go to you first. How do you think at this point Point Blank rebounds after that loss? Since I think we expected them to not struggle as much as they did.
Of course, it will be a tilting loss for the side of Point Blank because these guys do hold themselves week in, week out to a very high standard. I mean, listen, above it all else, though, you have to give your hats off to Altered Edge. When it came to the upset, it really came through in quite convincing fashion. I mean, of course, a 4-point hardpoint game and then a 6-4 in the S&D. Realistically speaking, we do want to go onto the tangent of that was a bit impressive, but at the same time, you are seeing the coach sub on in for the series. So realistically speaking, coming up against a weakened Point Blank, this is a very good win, and it's at the same time as well, almost expected. I mean, realistically, we're kind of holding on to the hope in our hearts that, you know, they do pull through and try and do it even with a substitute. Kind of like a Cinderella story that you did see, you know, LAG playing again in the Optic Major. But right now, the way it is and how it was going to be, I think it really came down to ultimately right now at this point, they have to try their hardest to just forget it and forgive it and just adapt right now because, again, they're going against a brand new team in the finals and it's not easy.
I would certainly have to agree on that. Wizard, what are you feeling? Do you think this Next Level racing team has a chance at this point? Are we going like completely random maybe? No surprises? Maybe?
I want to believe in the hometown heroes, the Next Level Racing squad, but I mean, this Point Blank team, even with Jay-Z in, yeah, they lost that last series, but as Connie said, that it was very close. It was 250 to 246 in the hard point and a 6-4 S&D. They played that Altered Edge squad very, very closely, and Altered Edge looked very good in that last series. So it's tough to say, but I think I have a feeling that it'll be a Point Blank win here going into this next matchup.
Well, talking about the teams, why don't we check out who's actually on the Next Level Racing squad? Of course, our names here is going to be Phantom, Someone, Fighter, and I'm going to say Shix. But I guarantee I pronounced that wrong. You know, we don't have any, I don't think, real info on them. They could be gold. They could be better than that. I'm pretty much a gold, so maybe if I were a random person thrown into there, I would probably be struggling.
I mean, realistically speaking, I think when you're looking into these sort of teams right now, I think this is a really big tall order for Next Level Racing as well, because they're coming against number 3 seed in the APAC region here, Jix. And realistically speaking, I just don't know. These players, like we said, there's no information. So we're going on a tangent of like, what do we expect? There really isn't much more we can add to that other than that they're coming in fresh face, brand new, looking for a good time. And against Point Blank, I'm not sure if you can have a good time.
Underdog story. I love to see it. Love to see it. Love to know it. But as all things, let's look back at the maps and modes that these guys chose. If I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more Hotel, and we indeed are. It's Hotel. It's Fortress. It's Hotel. Connie, do we feel that, of course, the side of Point Blank is going to be playing that Hotel hardpoint as they did earlier? They lost in a close one. Do you think they're going to make those changes coming into this one? And,
I think that the changes,
try to win it?
yeah. I have to agree with you. I think that makes changes. I think that just comes down to simple logic at this point, because if you're going to go back again into Hotel, they're probably going to have to, at this point, at least come with a different sort of energy. They have to realistically go into the mental state of at least playing strong for the first three hills, and then after that, at least playing fundamental flawless Call of Duty, because again, the benefits are that they've already played this today. They at least are going to have some form of consistency going into the next iteration of it. Downside is you're going up against an unknown team. I'm pretty sure myself and Wizard here as well just going to look at this series and think this is a COD player's dream, you know, the Fortress Hotel sandwich.
Yeah, the Hotel Motel Holiday Inn series. We see this a lot, at least from what I've been told. We see this a lot in APAC COD specifically, but I'm interested to see how Hotel goes. I mean, it was a great match the first time around, and I'm excited to see how it goes this time. We very well could see another close game.
Man, well, as always, during our break, we saw some of that HF8 haptic feedback gaming pad action that looked pretty sick. Don't forget, we have a discount code for that, as well as our Next Level Racing Elite Gaming Chair Leather and Suede Edition. So guys, don't forget, go check those out. At least if you're a little bit interested, add that discount code if you, want to splurge on yourself a little bit. But like all good things, I want to get into the match. Let's throw to the casters and get this next semifinal matchup going. Just kidding. I'm a caster. I'm here with Wizard in the booth for this next semifinal matchup, and I am very excited to be here and casting this one. Don't worry, I wasn't hosting all day. I promised in my Twitter post. I said host/caster. I was going to be in the booth for at least one game, and I am as well excited to see Point Blank in this one against our Next Level Racing team.
Yeah, and it looks like we're getting right into it here. We're going to be starting off with Shinx here on the Next Level Racing squad. Again, the hometown heroes looking to get something done, and it's going to be a double TK off the rip of Spawn for the side of Point Blank, but they're still going to manage to get the time. It's going to be Z working his way up the map, just looking to get control of this first hill. They want to keep the spawns they had as well. They did have that preferred side spawn, and imagine already starting things off hot with a great set of shots there. Z popping 3 at the start as well, but for now, still the early time going the way of Point Blank. We are already seeing a very, very fast-paced game, and as Connie said earlier, getting control of these first 3 hills is really what's going to make you build your lead and make this game what it is as we get further and further into it. And already we're rotating to hill number 2, and it's looking like it'll be Point Blank getting the spawns. Imagine gonna need to go huge here if the Point Blank squad wants to get more points on the board and get those spawns going.
Yeah, Point Blank struggled last game with a lot of those rotations early on. They started off this game pretty strong. They rotated, I think, in my opinion, a little bit late to this P2 point, but they've managed to hold it now. And Next Level Racing, they're having a hard time breaking onto it. It's really great positioning on the side of Point Blank. They're pushing on forward. Z with a 3-piece there. He's been popping off a little bit more, I think, getting used to, instead of being in the background, being on the pitch. And because of it, now Point Blank, tons of time on this P2 point, and they're getting themselves off to a very nice lead.
Yeah, and that is a fantastic hold. Cronus popping a 3-piece. He's on a 7 streak. Cronus having a game. And I talked about this a bit before. We saw a Lockman sub out from the last series, and Cronus says, you know what? Let me pick it up too. And he's going to bring it. Pops 7 in a row. He's going to have the cruise missile in his hands and the rotations as well. Point Blank are starting to roll on through. They're already putting up a lead, up by 70 points, and this is going to be a very tough one to continue to get back. If you are Next Level Racing, this is a massive hill you need to break, but that player in kitchen, that's going to be Fatty, already finds one, looking for the second, gets both, and back here in the back of the site, or back of the hill, it's going to be, again, Point Blank getting every single kill. Fatty almost with the turn and burn, does get to it as well. This lead is continuing to just blow out of the water. Fatty finding every single kill on a 5 streak, 12 and 6 from Cronus as well. And again, the rotations going the way of Point Blank. Fatty is having a field day right now going into this P4 hill.
Yeah, already Point Blank is on this point. They've prepared themselves. They rotated early, and they did so well in that last P3, spreading out and covering the entire area of the map around Kitchen. So easy to hold if you can get it early on. It definitely gives you that advantage. And now Next Level Racing having a very difficult time breaking into this P4 point as well. We keep seeing Kronos, another 3-piece popped for him. It just keeps going on and on and on. The killing sprees for Point Blank. You could tell maybe a little bit more practice on this Point Blank side of the field. And as for Next Level Racing, they're still just trying to find their stride of things. I had a feeling in this game 1, it would be interesting to figure it out. And SHKS is Shooks. Chat, has informed us, and they are in fact popping off the most as well on that next level racing side, just quickly looking at that kill death ratio.
This is something I wanted to mention. I'm seeing a hurricane on the map right now, and it's certainly not bringing any F5 tornadoes with it. So that's unfortunate right now for the Next Level Racing squad. It's about a 140-point lead, something that's almost insurmountable at this point in time. But Hotel, a map where if you can lock down those spawns, you will have the chance to get more time. But Fatty, again, just beaming across the map with that fast def. By the way, that thing got nerfed if you didn't know. That thing is frying in the hands of Fatty. Now he's going to have a chance to break this hill. For now, though, he has a lot of work around him. Z, the coach, getting the job done, gets 2-1 hill behind the chairs there, but manages to have the team help him out. Finds 3, and the rest of the squad continuing to push forward. They want to slam the door shut on any chance of a comeback here. Cronus 20-9, having a fryer of a game. Imagine putting the drop shots down range as well. 2 minutes in time for him too. Z, by the way, also on a 5. Everyone just having their way in this map right now. They are about to surpass the 200-point mark, and Next Level Racing not having a great time right now.
Oh my goodness, Point Blank is just doing so well on the field. There though, Fighter able to find a piece. Can't hold it for long. For a second, I thought Next Level Racing would have an opportunity to be on the pitch for a while, but so well, Point Blank, again, spreading out nicely on the map. They're holding their spawns near that point time and time again, and they're getting those picks as Next Level Racing tries to panic, try to force themselves onto that point as quickly as possible. They're going to pick a little bit of scrap time up on this one, but Point Blank back and ready on our reset in P1, and they don't need too many points in order to win this first hard point map. Hotel, you could see why they picked it. We saw APAC apparently obsessed with Hotel map, quote unquote best map in the game according to them, and they're going to continue doing well and probably picking up the map with this last P1 point.
Yeah, maybe that first map. Is this a P90? This is a P90 in the hands of Z. He does not care what weapon he has to use, but he just wants to get the job done. 10 more seconds until this game is done and dusted. And 3 blue kills in the kill feed. It's just Phantom, and he's going to get cut down as well. That should be game number 1 into Point Blank's hands. And there you go. 250-42. Just a thrashing from Point Blank. They looked phenomenal. We did see them have a close map one last game, and they just barely missed out on taking it. But here, they prove their point. They make a statement, 250-42.
Yep, the rank 3 OC team showing why they're as good as they are. Also, again, fighting for that revenge match. If they beat this one, they win against Next Level Racing, they get that rematch potential. And I think that might be kind of playing in their minds right now, but really impressive overall. The rotations on a point spread out as soon as they were able to be on that point on the different hill rotations. They pretty much played, I think, everything perfectly imagined with the majority of the time on point. I think he had 211 somewhere around that at the end of the game, but he still managed to get the kills, everyone else spreading out to make sure he held that point so well. Next Level Racing, they have a difficult task ahead of them going into this Fortress S&D map. But we did say earlier, I think you were saying in particular, Search and Destroy, the only kind of format that can kind of go either way.
Yeah, S&D wins championships. As if you're in the COD community, you certainly know that phrase. And even though this is a best of 3, it still is a pivotal game mode, being game number 2. It can really go either way. A lot of teams focus heavily on their S&D strats outside of how they want to play the respawns. And again, if you can steal one respawn, you can win a series just off of your S&D play. And to be quite honest, I've seen some teams that should not be winning S&Ds win S&Ds. So I think it really comes down to this map too. If we can see it, Next Level Racing take this one, they may be able to sneak out that hotel control as well.
Yeah, as I mentioned, S&D, I think First Bloods are the most vital part of that game. You get that early body advantage. It makes it a little bit easier to work with. I'm kind of excited to figure things out.
And I'm reading this message,
Yeah,
and
I'm
am I reading this
Are you
right?
reading this correctly?
Did I read this right? Teams are doing auto-assign, so teams will be randomized for map number 2. We have a little bit of goofiness going down here on Fortress, and Al-Bagra, the perfect place to get it going. I am just unbelievably more excited about this one.
Did they give the auto win to you know, point blank, and are we just gonna have fun the next 2 matches? I'm gonna you know, accept probably the defeat when it comes to next level racing, and then we're just gonna have fun. Yeah. So they're gonna progress to grand finals regardless, point blank, and we're just gonna play this series out as teams will be mixed matched to have fun.
I love this idea. This is something unprecedented, but we are deserving. I am so hyped for this. We saw how well the side of Point Blank played last series, and I don't think we need a reminder at this point. We all know they're number 3 in APAC. I mean, there's that, we saw that, so there's no reason to see it again. Why not add some spice to it? And that's exactly what we are going to do. I can't contain the excitement right now. I want to see how this works out for these two teams. I just want to see some absurd things go down on the Al-Bagra.
Well, you know, we always talk about the importance as well of the in-game leader when it comes to matches like this. I don't know if there'll be an in-game leader at this point between the two teams. I'm sure whoever gets the coach in Z will appreciate that and try to learn as much from the coach in that time. Honestly, Shooks on the side, of course, of Next Level Racing seemed to have a stellar performance in at least his, you know, kill-death ratio when it came down to it. So maybe Point Blank is fighting for him on the side of things. A lot could possibly go on. They're going to play out to the 3rd map regardless, but they're going to have fun with it. So I'm excited to see both the randomness and the mixing. You know, why not play with, you know, one of the best teams in the APAC region? Let's have fun with it. I think the teams,
We have just been shown the teams. Interesting.
Yeah, I need to open it and like put it up by.
We have a 2-2 split for these players. Imagine and Cronus on a team, and then we have Fatty and Fighter rounding out that roster. And on the other side, we see actually, no, it is 3 of the Next Level players on the other side. I am blind and cannot remember names.
Oh,
so we've seen a trade, Z for Fighter. Outside of that, the teams will be what they were last map. So the coach being traded away to the opposing squad. Can he lead them to victory? We will have to find out as we head into Al-Bagra Fortress. I think he may just be enough to put it over the edge for the side of Next Level Racing.
You know, I have a feeling that the side of Point Blank are not going to go easy on their coach. I don't know about you, but if anything, this is like a beatdown, throwdown on my coach time. So I see them having a ball with it. You know, maybe purposely targeting Z a little bit more than needed. But that's the fun in it all. But maybe that's just my mind. Maybe they'll go easy on him. Who knows?
We shall see here soon as we look to load into the map. I can't believe it's only a 1-for-1 trade, and of course the coach of all players getting tossed to the other side. And we are now into game number 2, random 1, random 2. Phantom, the one with the bomb in hand, and we're gonna see a B hit here, but these players aren't even getting out of spawn, and there's already a fight going down. Fighter getting the trade onto Cronus, and we are seeing just pandemonium at the start of this round. Everyone just flying at each other. Shinx getting 2 kills there. It's all down to Fatty. Has the sniper in hand. Shot just a bit off. Looking for another. Doesn't connect. So this is going to be a bit of a tough 1v2 for Fatty. Just trying to get something here. Knows exactly where this player is, but has to back away and just pull out the pistol. It is faster than reloading, typically, so you're going to have to see what goes down, but Fatty falling there, and it will be the Next Level Racing squad plus Z taking round number 1.
Wow, I did not expect that to really go down as it did, but they traded off really well early on in this game, and Fatty has been, honestly, in my opinion, struggling with that sniper at times. I think doing really well. They did mix the teams a little bit better because Kronos and Z are now on the same team. So we did end up with a 2-2 split at the end of the day, but still nonetheless, doing really well. That round was Shooks from Next Level Racing. He had a 2-piece there in a very important time, and now we'll see Kronos again with First Blood doing really well on that Shooks Kronos Z Wiz side.
Yeah, we're already seeing 2 players down on the blue side here. Fatty trying to fight through top maps and just gets smoked by that Vaznev. It's all down to Fighter. Is there much Fighter can do here? At least can isolate some of these gunfights, but gonna have to make magic happen. We've seen 1v3s before. Can we see it here? Fighter has the first fight, but it's not even gonna be close. That is a pure smoking there. And again, the red team taking round number 2. It'll be Z closing it out here on to Fighter. Fantastic shots there from the coach and just pretty much holding down sprint and going forward.
You know, still, I wanna look at Shooks. He's been doing really well for this random 2 squad. 4-0 right now. He's on a 4th streak. We can hope he gets 2 more. Manages to pull that out on this one. But it's been Kronos getting that early First Blood and Shooks just having that better positioning, being a little bit more aggressive because he's able to have that Shooks this time with the First Blood. But certainly he's been going all for it. And it's been working out very well for a random 2 team.
Imagine spots a player up top inside of the building here, but for now, gonna have to back away. And look at this already. It's down to a 1v4 for Fatty. Finds the first, finds the second. May have a chance here. Spots the third, guns the third. And now it's a 1v1. This could be an ace and a 1v4, but doesn't pull out the gun quick enough. And that will be, again, a 3-0 scoreline. Random 2 just having a day right now. Kronos closing it out. Gets a bit scary there towards the end, but Fatty gets caught sprinting.
Ooh, what a play at the end of the day for the side of Kronos, just being able to pull it out. Fatty with that 3-piece, though, almost trying to carry the entire team on his shoulders. We talked about, again, S&D having the most variability of a play. Not everybody is good at S&D, just some people don't like the one-on-ones. Kronos, another early First Blood, but 2 go down for him, and we'll see if random 2 team can hold on out in this one. But it's been interesting to see the trade.
Oh my God, finds another kill. It's put down to a 1v1 again. This time it's Phantom and Kronos in a battle for this 4th round, and Phantom for now just gonna hide out in the cell. Doesn't really need to move. I believe it is actually the random 2 team that needs to plant, so Kronos is going to have to make a move, and that bomb is not in a great spot, but again, Phantom just hiding about in the cell, so it's going to give Kronos the time to plant the bomb, and going to be able to get a setup too, but obviously just checking to make sure there's no aggression coming out, and here goes the bomb plant, and this is going to come down to the wire here. Going to see Phantom start working his way over, and look at this. Hopped up top maps. Kronos in the perfect position. Gets the spot. Is he going for the? He's going for an assassination. He has the dead silence popped. He doesn't. Gets the beat down. Kronos clutching up in the 1v1. Fantastic spot. Just goes for the 1-2 puncheroo. And that'll be round number 4 to random 2.
I said it. He had that X12 in hand, and I was like, no, Kronos. No, don't you dare. Don't you do him dirty like that. I would be just as scared as Phantom was to go against essentially a top top region player in APAC, and you know what, Kronos plays that exactly how he knows he should. Uses that dead silence real well to just sneak behind and executes that 1v1 very well.
Wiz is at 0-3 and 0-4 actually now, and they're still winning 4-0. So imagine pops a 2-piece there, getting this round kick-started for Random 1. But again, we saw in the last round there was a 2-piece by, I believe it was also Imagine, and they ended up dropping the round. It went down to a 1v1 and just didn't pull it out. So this is going to have to be a round win here. You don't want to go down 5-0, especially now that you are putting it to a 1v3. And look at this, Shinx behind 2, spots the first, takes the gunfight, and wins it, although shooting that player in the back, and might even get the timing here. Pops the dead silence, has the ability to just run it straight through these bottom maps doors. And again, the bomb not going down just yet, but we may see a hop out here. Phantom now looking to plant. There's now information that once there gets the kill. Now a 1v1. Imagine, can you take this round for your team? Just barely managing to win that fight. So Random 1 at least getting a round on the board.
Someone tell me what Shooks' rank is? I'm kind of curious since he's playing at the level of a lot of these point blank players, but good patience by Imagine. They luckily have that 2-1 body advantage, and as soon as Shooks' position is well known, he does and is able to win out just that 1v1 gunfight. You know, Random 1 has the potential, but we'll see. We'll see. Can they come back and do it?
Look at this sensitivity, by the way, from Shix. It looks like he's playing on keyboard. It is insane the pace that this kid is playing at. But now we're going to see a trade there. Z falls, but he gets his own trade with the nade. So it'll be Wiz picking up the bomb in his place, finds one, and Kronos picking up another, down to Fatty. We have been seeing some silliness, goofiness in this game. The flick, though, the transfer is not good enough. So Random 2 going to map point. It feels like this map just started. Everyone just sprinting at each other. We know that there's not really any stakes here, so you can do whatever you want. And Shix, 11-3.
Well, you know, chat, again, answered my call. Shooks is apparently iridescent when it comes to Call of Duty. So he is indeed in that top level, and why he is dominating this S&D round right now for the side of Random 2. I think Z and Kronos feel like they got the perfect Random matchup because they get to beat up on Fatty and Imagine, and you know what's better than playing against your teammates and kind of getting that bribe match already with the early first blood, and only Phantom left by his lonesome to play out this 1v2. And his position certainly very well known, but we'll see. He's gonna stay quiet.
Shix
he needs to move.
Alive there is just absurd. Had two people looking at him, gets the first kill, backs away, throws the stun, and still stays alive, and gets another kill out of it. Phantom in a good spot here, but certainly going to be known. And Wiz, oh no, Wiz! Wiz, the shots are not clean. Phantom puts it to a 1v1, but the one player on the other team you do not want to see on the scoreboard that's still alive for Random 2. And this is going to come down to a bloodbath on the A bomb site. Bomb going down. Does this get checked? No, it does not. But now the location is known. The shot is almost missing that there, but it'll be Random 2 taking map 2, 6-1. And we are now headed on over to a hotel control. We get back to the hotel, our second night in the 2-night stay. Very excited to see how this one goes.
Someone just said, get this man a contract. And I mean, I gotta agree with you. Shooks completely dominated that match. 14-3, double the damage, sometimes triple of his teammates. I mean, if we just have a replay reel of Shooks right now, I would not doubt you, because he went off the charts in every single aspect of the game. You know, my spot on analysis is the playmaker MVP Shooks, and he changed the entirety of that game. But honestly, Random 2 getting the majority of first bloods in this map too. They started off strong, just played out these games a little bit better in the long run, and they'll. I mean, we know Point Blank's moving on forward, but good round, good job to Next Level Racing for having fun with it and mixing it around and showing that Chooks, you know, he's a little bit more than we could have imagined.
I mean, I know they're already they're already disqualified for champs, but London needs this man. Get him on the plane now to this London squad. They are in desperate need of COD players, and this man right there definitely should get that contract. Just the Shook shell. That's literally all it was, and I mean, he just destroyed Random 1 in map 2 there. But we will now head to a hotel control. We can't get away from it. It's inevitable at this point. It's like
No,
Thanos.
we can't.
I am inevitable.
Well, these seems to be really familiar with Control and with Hotel, like we've mentioned again and again. We haven't seen Control yet today, just because teams haven't got that far. We saw a sweep in that first matchup, so it's exciting to see how they approach it again in this matchup. You know, Control can sometimes go either way. I'm kind of like, it's hard for me to predict what's gonna happen when I literally cannot predict the teams that are about to be on the field.
Yeah, and with S&D, there's, you know, when you're playing 8s, you're going to be playing S&D every single time. Money 8s, just normal 8s, whatever. You're playing S&D. No one is playing Control. I'm not playing Control. My players are not playing Control. No one is playing Control. Half the teams don't even scrim Control. So this is just such a toss-up. It's just who comes out on top? Who's gonna win more gunfights? Who's gonna have the higher slay count? That's really what it's gonna come down to, I feel like, here. But we will have to see after the map gets going. But again, yeah, it's hard to predict when you don't even know what the teams are gonna be. We'll have to see what goes down there, but I'm sure it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I think Control is kind of interesting. Like any map, you know, you need to kind of reposition your team to wherever you guys kind of respawn. If you respawn on one point and the entire team all just panic to the other side, you need to rotate with that. You know, take as many of those blocks that you can in that time period. So I think when it comes down to it, we're going to see those respawns be really essential. We're going to see who's holding each Control A, B site a little bit better. And I think attack and defense each has its kind of own benefits and losses at time. I enjoy the bottom bed, top bed, if you can control that during these maps. So a lot to think about going into this one. But as you mentioned, not a lot of teams practice Control, so gives a little bit more variability that we expect to see.
All right, my prediction, whoever gets Z, whichever, I don't care who he has on his squad, whatever team gets Z, they've won. It's just, that's how it is. That's in my mind, they've just won. Whether, I'm probably going to be proven wrong pretty quickly, but I mean, the way I see it, if you don't have Z, what are you doing? You're just not going to win. That's just how I'm seeing it right now. I mean, he didn't go off in map 2, but I mean, he didn't need to. He was just coaching up the squad, and now we're in map number 3, and it looks like Z has Phantom, Wiz, and Cronus. That's the team that's winning, apparently, according to my calculations. But we'll have to see. The attacking side going to be Random 1, and already they've popped 3 kills. Z with the drop shot onto the second. That is a burn of a kill, but again, a double TK. Phantom kills himself and Cronus, so what could have been an early capture onto B now is going to be a very, very slow ticking by, but it doesn't matter. The man himself, Z, on a mission, has 5, doesn't get the 6th, and now we're seeing gunfights go back and forth. Trades are abound. We'll have to see as this B point gets captured. It may just get chalked, and we're probably already heading all the way over to the A site on the opposite end of the map.
Yeah, I think to make things a little more even, Shooks ended up kind of switching out with one of the next level racing sides of the field. So this is what we ended up with. Kind of the only swap that we saw in this game. But really great starting off for Z in this Control. He ends up I think 3-piece, 2-piece, 5 streak, as we mentioned, gives the advantage at point B, and the entire Random 1 squad just dominates. They're at a 10 live advantage right now. They're going to keep holding that advantage. Z on another 5 killing spree. They're looking to already get this A point just like that. Map 1 all dead, done, over. Random 1 team gets it in on the backs of Z. 10-1 that round. Only dies a single time and has 2 of those 5 kill streaks.
Z is a man possessed right now. He is snaking, he is drop shotting, he is doing everything in his power. I also have a feeling he may be trying much harder than the rest of the players in this lobby, but he is he's just on a tear right now. 10-1 on his second 5 streak. He may get the streaks early on in the second round if he can find a kill. And we're going to start off with Phantom again, nading himself. That's like the 4th time he's naded himself in this series. I'm not sure what's going on there, but maybe
let's give the man
a bit of a miscalculation. It's a bit tough. It gets tough out here.
Let's cut him a break, playing against some stiff competition, maybe a little nervous, Panic throws it into the wall, doesn't run away, things happen, stuff happens, you nade yourself every once in a while. In the major today, we saw someone nade a teammate, and you know what, they ended up with a absolute 4-piece after that, got in fact a 5-piece that game, and that happens, the nade buff.
Again, we're seeing the offensive team just run amok in the spawn. It is a full wipe onto B, and that point is already captured. And look at A. They almost have that captured, and it's only Fighter on the point. He's literally just holding it by himself and has basically captured it. This round may already be over, to be quite honest, unless if Fighter deals with some pressure, and he does. Fatty pushed all the way up through Shandy, and it's going to be Cronus by himself on the point. Doesn't get the kill, and that's a 3-man wipe, and no one close enough. So it'll be round number 2 already over. These rounds are just lightning quick. We don't even have time to speak about what's going on. It's just ending that quickly.
It honestly, at this point, seems to be attackers' advantage for both sides of the field. We see them rushing a point at a time. They're getting an early lead. They're stacking that point quick, stacking those points just as quickly. And there was just all that combined to bring it in at the end of the day. I think both teams at this point, they need to adapt. Maybe, Random 1 talking with Z, say, hey, as a defensive team, how do we get better offensively? Keep doing your stuff. And on the same end of the field, they're going to have to figure out, how do we place ourselves in the correct positions at this point to combat that early B push? Because Random 1 side of the field, they got it. They have the spawn advantage. They're spread out pretty nice, and they're looking to take control of this B point pretty quick.
And you said ask Z. Z probably just said, you know what, you guys sit in the point. I'm going to do everything myself. He walks straight forward, finds a 3-piece like it's a casual Saturday, and he finds that 4th as well, only getting cut down when there's 2 players shooting at him from 2 different angles. But Fatty has something to say about it too, frying as well. Everyone having their moments here. Z 15-5, triple positive, and I mean, no one's even close to how many kills he has other than Fatty. Everyone else is still just trying to compete with these two, and they are both just showing out for the squads right now. And we're going to see this rotation over to the A point, and Phantom with a solid kill there. Wiz pulling out the P90, decides it's the better weapon right now for him, and it's A-okay. I mean, it's been working, so why not let him cook? And as I say that, Fatty pops a 2-piece, and his teammates helping him out as well. Fatty on a 3. And it's just going to be a walk forward into the spawn. We are just seeing hyper-aggressive play from both of these squads. And again, a TK from Phantom. Unfortunately, he's been having a bit of a rough go, but it doesn't even matter. His team is still winning. The life count's pretty even right now, 17-18. The points are slowly being captured, but Fatty again getting these players off of the A point, running forward into the spawn. But Z trading it right back. Again, these 2 players just doing everything right now. And as we're seeing right now, B points being captured, streaks getting called in, but there's not a lot of time, there's not a lot of lives. Something has to give, and will it be the defense? Will it be the offense? We will find out here soon.
Yeah, Random One doing their best on those respawns to kind of fight for that point that they spawn closer to. They do get that B point secured with just 10 seconds left, so they'll be able to transition over to that A where they already have some time brought in. But when it comes down to the individual fights that we're seeing here, Random 2 winning those in a majority. This is going to be really a lives match. Nobody wants to sweep their entire side of the team, their entire team. At this point, Kronos playing the back end, holding his best, but time certainly not on the side of Random One. Everyone trying to play careful with their lives at this point in the game.
It takes one fight now, and I mean, it's 6-6. You basically have 0 respawns left, and I mean, it's just going to come down to this final fight here. Imagine pushed all the way up. In fact, getting into the fridge just to make sure that pushes even harder. And it's looking like we will actually see a defensive round win this time around, unless if something crazy happens. But we saw that stick from Fatty there onto Z. Fatty taking down Wiz as well. Fighter all the way in Shandy. 1v6. This is going to be a second round for Random 2. And they are now looking to put 3 in a row on the board going into their attacking side.
They hold that second A point so well at the end of the game. They win those trades. They position themselves out. And the spawn for Random One just gets so far away that they're fighting to get back to that A point, but just running out of time. When you're in that final 30 seconds of the game, you need to win really one last good gunfight, take the advantage and take that point, since you guys don't have time to regroup, recap. I think they were a little nervous with that live count being so low and so close, and at the end of the day, that nervousness ended up biting them.
And again, in the stats, we are seeing just the most absurd things I've ever seen with a stat line. Fatty just sprinting through, finds all 4, 10 spree for Fatty, and it doesn't even matter. He's on the point, looking to do it all, and he's getting the help too. I mean, he got 1 kill in a mid and just continued sprinting, found the entire team. 28-24 life count already. Random One just getting slaughtered in their spawn. And it's all thanks to this man snaking all around. No one can hit him. No one can touch him. He's almost got a 30-piece right now. He is cooking in the kitchen. Just wait till they get over there in the dining hall as well, where he'll certainly be snaking on about. At least, though, we're seeing a bit of control get gained back from Random One, but it's not a whole lot as the rotations come in. B already captured, and that's a very early capture. Fatty calling in the streak to confirm that 30th kill. He is 30-10 right now. He is just continuing to go on a tear. He saw Z's stat line in round 1 and said, I can do you one better. And the rest of the team starting to fry too. We're seeing everyone contribute to this Random 2 squad, and there goes Fatty, finding every single head glitch he can snake to his imagination. A getting captured, Random 1 down to just 12 lives to 26 of Random 2. This is looking like it may be a GG's no re, but we'll have to see here in just a few seconds as A is still getting captured.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem with Random One is they were still fighting for that B point earlier when it was pretty much all but lost. Why waste your lives? Why throw yourself into the fight when that point's about to be captured? They should have retreated, really set up for that rotation from B to A on the side of the Random 2 team and tried to fight off their battle that way. They lost, I think, 5-6 lives just throwing themselves in there. They were then respawning when Random 2 team was moving on to that next control point, and I think at the end of the day, they struggled just a little bit too much. Random 2 winning at Fatty, like you said, really phenomenal game for him, but impressive nonetheless. We saw so much complexity out of this team, out of both teams, and you know, Shooks, maybe we should pay a little bit more attention to him in the long run. Some teams, I don't know if they'll watch this, but definitely, you know, this man, he needs a contract. A lot of people hashtag Team Shooks in the chat. You know, we saw a lot of love for him, so I hope to see more of him potentially in that semi-pro scene.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, the guy was frying today. I know the teams were random, but I mean, it does not really matter. That guy had a field day on Albagra and still showed out in map number 2 or map number 3 as well. But again, just a fantastic one from Fatty. I mean, the kid was just dropping streak after streak after streak, looking like Simp and a Beezy out there by himself. I mean, he just showed out the stat line, and here again, you're seeing in the replay, just walking through mid, having every single kill go his way. The man was on a mission.
Well, Point Blank, certainly they're going to have to do that rematch game against Altered Edge coming up in our grand finals. But before that, let's not forget we have our HF8 haptic feedback gaming pads and our next level racing elite gaming chairs, leather and suede edition, up to those prize winners. So whoever ends up winning gets to take home some of those. I mean, I'd love to take home some of those myself, so I'm sure something to fight for in our grand finals as well. Don't forget, we have a ton of discount codes for you guys today. 5% off if you guys check it out. We have Paging, of course, the Australian retailer, as well as nextlevelracing.com if you're in the USA. So a lot to look out for, a lot to do. We're going to take a quick break, though, before we get back to our grand finals. One final game, one final best of 5 that we have, and it's going to be that rematch of Point Blank OC against Altered Edge. We'll be right back. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. We are finally in our grand finals territory. And I mean, man, I love staring at that freaking HF8 haptic feedback gaming pad. That thing looks so cool. Don't forget, we have those 5% codes for you guys. That 5% off during this broadcast. If you're interested, we both have the Next Level Gaming site for US, Pagian for those in Australia. So don't forget to check those out. But it is, of course, the rematch in our grand finals of Point Blank. OC Altered Edge on the other end of the field that won that first matchup. I honestly feel like Jay-Z kind of getting his feet wet and getting back into it, but nonetheless, you know, what did we see that we liked from Altered Edge, and do you think they can redo that in this game, this grand finals?
Honestly, I just like the fact that my biggest standout was the fact that Kamado was whipping out the Lockman AR. I mean, that is crazy to see. I mean, all the different changes that we're seeing come into the meta. It's nice to see that there's a fresh gun in the mix. I mean, I don't think it's anything like the Volk that we saw in Vanguard last year, but it definitely is interesting. But no, they've been playing really well. They've just been playing coordinated as a team. They play the fundamental game, and that's something that Point Blank I don't think have really been able to keep up with, right? Even they've got this sub with Jay-Z. They've been thrown off the mix a little bit, and I think Altered Edge just capitalize on that. They go, we don't have to do anything crazy. We don't have to do anything too out of the ordinary. We just stick to our game plan, stick to our guns, and they were able to make it happen. They had some really, really good coordinated games in both the Search and Destroy and the Hardpoint, so it'll be interesting to see how they go up against Point Blank here.
Well, those were certainly really close games on the side of Altered Edge that they did win them out, as you mentioned. 6-4 in that S&D, 250 to 246, I believe, on that hard point. What do we feel like Point Blank needs to do? What changes do they need to make in order to win up this rematch?
But Point Blank needs to get very comfortable as well with the situation given to them. The card they've been dealt, especially in the first series we saw today, 2-0 against them, was not on anyone's pick and predictions. And especially as well as substitute, of course, having Z come into the fray of things really does throw things off, because Jarzen has been a very accomplished player, especially in the region, for many, many years, and is almost a core factor for this team, because you do center a lot of teams in Call of Duty around one player. Jarzen is going to be the person who's going to point out on Point Blank. But now having Z fulfill this role, it does add a bit of pressure and definitely a reshuffle round in terms of what the team can and can't do. It really limits their playbook, but ultimately when it comes into this next series, they're going to be having a best of 5 instead of best of 3. So maybe a deeper map pool, especially one with the likes of Point Blank having that sort of caliber, that level in Oceanic COD. They maybe have to go and resort to that last little pool there.
Well, we mentioned a lot of Jay-Z. I think he's certainly gotten better as the day has gone on. I think he did well in those kind of fun matches that we saw earlier, so I hope to see more out of him. But, you played at it a little bit. Why don't we see the maps and modes, what teams decided to choose, pick, ban, and whatnot, and take a look and see if that'll change up. Maybe less hotel? More hotel? How are we feeling?
Oh, okay. Well, we got something interesting here. Zarqwa Hydroelectric to kick off the hard point. I mean, that is always a fun map to have in a series. And of course, this being a best of 5 is going to be very interesting. So we got Zarqwa Hydroelectric, followed by a hotel, shocker, and then an Alocilo control. So pretty standard for the search and control. But the Zarqwa Hydroelectric map number 1 is going to be very interesting, especially with Point Blank playing with a sub. This is a map that is very, very rotation heavy. I mean, you've got to run a marathon to go from side to side.
Absolutely, and the water routes always play a huge factor in terms of how the map's geography plays out, especially in the 44 modes and maps. And this one in particular is the most unique, especially with the pool we have at hand. I do think that you're resorting to a lot of sub-presence and a lot of fast-paced players with high tempo to really thrive in this map, because, again, when they do cut up the map and find those awkward timings and even play lots of counters, especially on break attempts, you really do come to the subs. I mean, the ARs, again, can always watch over you, always have lane control, but really when it comes to initiating and making that space and pressure, the sub players will thrive on that Hydro hardpoint.
Yeah, I really enjoy kind of flipping those spawns on Hydra. That can make or break your game when it comes to that P2 and P3 at the end of the day. How are we feeling about Hotel Hardpoint as our 4th map? We saw it earlier. That was that 4-point game in our very first map, very first round. That one, Altered Edge, won by 4 points. Do you think they can do it again if we get that far? I don't foresee this being a sweep. I see that one being the real deciding factor if we end up going to game 5 or we end up winning in that game 4.
Yeah, certainly. I think that if it goes the distance, which it probably most likely will, I mean, we saw just how close the first series was, that Hotel Hardpoint will be a big difference maker. Clearly, Altered Edge feeling comfortable on the map, feeling confident, and if they can take that and, potentially, the way I see it, I mean, Hydra is going to be a very interesting one to try and pick sides, but considering Altered Edge, we're able to take the Hotel just by, a few points. Be interesting to see if that will come into play later on. And then, of course, an Alocilo to end things off in the Search and Destroy is always an interesting one. I like Alocilo Search and Destroy. It's fun.
Oh, yeah, as well. The other CeeLo being in 2 different instances here in the control and the search and destroy, but if need be, they will be going back on to that Hotel hardpoint as well. And Point Blank, like we said, did look very uncomfortable against the likes of Altered Edge in the map mode combination. Hotel just didn't really fit right for them, but at the same time, we always do revert back to the fact that they're playing with substitutes there. Of course, Z stepping into the fray for Jars. And realistically speaking, now when it comes to this series, they are buying more time. They can afford more mistakes in this more extensive series, but at the same time, you do initiate ideas at this point now in terms of the structure of this. Are they going to play for a sweep? Are they going to get a reverse sweep? Or is it going to go either way? Really, there's so many questions you need to answer in this series. We'll answer all those questions for you.
Yeah, I mean, lastly, I'm going to point out the LSCO control. Personally, myself, that's the map that I think I struggle the most on, just because if your team ends up really wiping, the spawn is often really far out, and you find those teams pushing up into party and having a kind of fun in that area themselves, beaming me down as I respawn. So I see that's going to be, in my opinion, a very difficult round. But we touched on this is our first best of 5 on the night. Do we feel like this one going a little bit longer, having that extra length, that Altered Edge is going to have a difficult time instead of now 2 maps, they need to do 3, and sometimes that consistency is really hard to find throughout.
Yeah, I mean, it's always very difficult playing a best of 3. I mean, there's 3 game modes in the game, and you're only playing 2 of them. We see this time and time again in pool play when it comes to a lot of teams competing at LANs. Especially Toronto around the corner that Point Blank are going to be going to, so that'll be interesting to see how they shape up there. But yeah, exactly as you said, best of 5 being the first one it's always an interesting dynamic. It changes it up completely. You have 3 maps at least to play to get yourself in the swing of things, which I think Altered Edge might need a little bit of a buffer here, being cold off and you know, coming back into the series rather than being able to play 3 maps or 3 series straight with point blank.
Well, as we don't forget, this is for all the marbles. Either team in this grand finals, they get to take home a HF8 haptic feedback gaming pad, which we have seen all day long that looks so sick, and their own next level Racing Elite gaming chair, leather and suede edition, just to make it that much more comfortable. So a lot to be fighting for at this point. Every single member gets one of those to take home, and I mean, why not advance your setup? Of course, huge thanks to Next Level Racing for putting this on, for having some of the best Australia, New Zealand teams to come on in, as well as the Next Level Racing community, having a little bit of fun with that show match. But you know, what's better than us talking about it than actually getting into it? Connie Narski, I'm excited to see what you guys can really bring to us in this grand finals. Why don't you guys go take it away?
Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's a very, very big little intro for us. I mean, not that we deserve, but whenever you decide to leave the 3 box, there we go. But no, it was great. It's a great intro that you gave us. Regardless, though, best of 5 grand finals. It's going to be interesting to see how these 2 teams shape up on the rematch. I don't know how I'm going to see this going. I think Point Blank are going to get their feet stuck in here and are going to look a lot better coming in the rematch. But that being said, Altered Edge very much surprised me in that first series.
Oh, definitely. I think, you know, the way that Altered Edge played it for the most part, they were very much comfortable in these scrap situations. Although it was a 2-0 and it was relatively competitive throughout the entirety of both maps, they found so much comfort in these scrappy situations. The real chance we're going to see Point Blank thrive, and just leaving it here, is starting off strong, starting off very, very good early in the first 3 hills, establishing that lead, getting the points on the board, and keeping things nice and organized.
Yeah, exactly right. And obviously Jay-Z getting his little mojo back throughout the series. I'm sure that he'll be playing a little bit better. The coach, of course, for Point Blank, and now filling in for Jarzen. But he's not an easy spot to fill. Not only do you have to be the entry sub, the main sub here for Point Blank, you've also got to be playing like Corey Mounsey, who's a very aggressive, very high octane player that you clearly cannot fill if you're just the coach, right? He's unfillable. He's unreal. He was the most winningest player last year, winning the most events. He filled in for Renegades back in Cold War and won the Cup, and that's kind of how he got himself stuck in coming into the Vanguard season, where he played extremely well. He played with Renegades at the start of there, and then switched up throughout it. So yeah, he ended up being the most winningest player in APAC, won the most events, went to champs, had a great run there. It's just, yeah, he's a very decorated player, so very tough for Jay-Z to fill those shoes, and Altered Edge are looking to try and make them pay yet again here in the grand finals and put on a show for us.
Yeah, again, you do put a lot of pressure right now, especially for Fatty and Z to find their form together and really get this sub pairing going. I mean, you are going into a map, especially in Hydroelectric, where it can be very punishing when it comes to 50-50 duels between the submachine guns, where literally map control can be given or taken at any given time, especially when these subs are on the map and they're pressuring the lanes, leading towards rotations, leading towards break attempts. Mostly speaking, positioning, especially on the respawn, is so important. Very much a realistic goal here that we do need to see Point Blank achieve. They want to try and take this map off of Altered Edge.
Yeah, and this first map is a decider, right? Zakwa Hydroelectric is going to be interesting. I know Imagine really came back into the season halfway through, so his knowledge about the map and how comfortable he feels is probably not great, but I think he's become more accustomed to it as it's gone on. Sure. And you've also got to think that Point Blank, you know, the APAC region in general doesn't really like this map. It's slowly coming in as the season's gone on, but for some reason they're scared of water. They can't swim. I'm not sure what the reason is, but they don't really like it too much. But regardless, we're going to get things started here. Map number 1, Zakwa Hydroelectric. I was about to say Zakwa Electric, but then there wouldn't be much water in it. Regardless, though, we're going to kick things off here in our grand finals.
fantastic so far. I mean, listen, of course, his first kills are exchanged. Positioning for his next hill is going to be very important right now. As this water routes now start to get utilized, you rely so much here on the initial kills on the outside to try and initiate the collapse onto the point. Of course, All Edge will get initial time here, but look at point back right now again. They're trying to funnel in at least some form of pressure here whilst maintaining numbers in the back spawn. Because again, you're fighting for P2 here, not just a P1 as well to chain.
Fatty up top is able to at least grab a nice 2-piece. That'll get point blank some time here early into this hard point. Unfortunately, you still got to deal with Trax in the mid. Will be taken out from Imagine, but still a lot of work to be had. And I think the P2 spawns will fall into the hands of Altered Edge here now coming up to it. It's going to be very, very difficult for point blank to break, especially when you've got these players set up completely. All 4 arrows now in P2.
It's definitely very good as well, because right now the way that Alt Edge are playing it, watch the flank here as well, huge gunfights, so Azza can try and look to utilize, making sure Finch is locked in, point blank there from the front, have to break very, very clear.
Yeah, we see here now trying to get this initial time. It's not going to happen. Kill feed lighting up that bright green now as all the players from point blank get dropped, except for Imagine. So he tries to work up through the middle of the map, but as we talked about, this is going to be a very difficult map for point blank. Coming in with that sub, it's heavily relying on those the sub routes. And that's what we're trying to see here, is Fatty tries to make himself into this point, gets a few kills, but it's not going to be enough.
Impressive though so far, because All Edge right now have got a very comfortable lead, especially when you're heading into the next ladders of this hill. They want to play for at least 30 seconds, but point blank respond very, very fast. Even though the respawners do come on in, great crossfires from Cronus allow for more time to be adapted and absorbed. And especially after this hill, we're going to be seeing hopefully point blank take the lead here. Despite the respawners, the huge fight for spawns, which you are seeing Fatty win, initiate a lot of time and a lot of pressure just to be alleviated.
Yeah, big kills coming through. Imagine already set up in the point. This is where it can get a little bit dangerous for Altered Edge. You see all 4 players going for the back here to try and flip the spawns. Does find at least Fatty holding those spawns, blocking, but unfortunately, point blank continuing to tick up time here. And Kamado with this Lockman AR, I don't know how much he's going to get done as Cronus Kun just plays this top area. Especially look at Z's awareness here, knowing the vision's in the water, trying to find the kill, but he's got under his barrel. Does get spotted though, and that's going to be a 3 down for point blank now.
Impressive now, because despite it all, the spawners are still good for Altered Edge, but really where the detriment comes in, as soon as 20 seconds is left on the timer, you are playing on the back foot, because again, when you're rotating from this to next, there's such a foot ratio to get through. Hence why we're seeing arrows now on Altered Edge start to digress to the south side of the map, and at this point, blank know that the spawners are starting to get flipped, and because Altered Edge are getting green across onto the new hill.
Cronus now looking to try and go for those spawns. The main AR for point blank, continuing to try and fry out and grab some big impactful kills. That's going to be 3 down. Last person left is Vision's. Cheeky stare glitch coming out from him, but he will get taken down. Now, point blank with the spawns, with the control, setting up here to grab a big chunk of time. Fatty as well, continuing to fry out. He's 13 and 5. And Imagine on a sub is something that you don't see every day.
No, not at all, especially with the way they're playing it. It's a good pinch dynamic as well that All Edge are starting to get, because once one gets through, one just waits for the push and the pinch, and then immediately it's just a dual peak. You can't win these gunfights. Even the ARs are starting to struggle now from the side of point blank, because All Edge are breaking on through, and for the first time, especially in this iteration, point blank are fighting from the front though. But who would you want more than Fatty, especially on for the cruise missile?
Oh, is this some big kills? He does get taken out though, unfortunately, just off of the cruise missile. Azza getting a nice 2-piece as well. Still, a lot of work to be had if you're Altered Edge to try and get yourself back in this. They've got a good amount of scrap time, but Trax is going to be that player to try and press into this new time and to try and grab some big picks. Unfortunately, though, he's got to deal with Imagine, and one player has slipped through. Number 4, it will be Vision. He'll get taken care of. Some good awareness out of Fatty. And still yet, Kamado in the back line looking to try and deal some damage on the pinch. It's a lot of work to be had. Altered Edge, not with the control, point blank, ticking away time.
Having a much slower game than usual, Kamado has of course initiated the pinch dynamic here that Altered Edge can look to execute. A break attempt will come on in, especially with the spawners now from point blank starting to just drift a little bit away. It's a huge pinch and a huge wrap. Altered Edge now fighting from the backside here, can at least apply some pressure. But despite it all, you're holding it down. Imagine be last upon this point, especially now the time trickling on over. A 40-point margin between these two teams, and the amount of force that Altered Edge can apply from the back is going to be half a point blank to try to adjust.
Big entry out of Visions, but it won't amount to too much. You see point blank continuing to lock all this down. Kamado trying to contest, but you still have so much time that you can rack up here in point blank with the scrap. Coming over to the second set of rotations, and you are pretty much a solid hill ahead, and that is a big amount of time for Aqua Hydroelectric. You know the spawns are so close, and the hills can get scrappy. Regardless, though, Fatty going to continue to try and press the attack with the sub. And honestly, you got Cronus and Z not doing a whole lot. Well, I mean, Cronus, that's his job being the main AR, but Z still yet to get going, and they're still in such a large lead.
Absolutely, but listen, that camera's starting to find form. Alt Edge just starting to get more time on the board. But point blank, where they're really playing it well again, is the scrap times. Despite it all, Alt Edge have won the last 3 initials, but not held onto the hill for more than 15 seconds. Maybe we see the difference maker here as well in the next set of rotations. The P1 to P2, especially at this point now, we're hardly contested by both teams. But looking at the backside here, as soon as Z wins the gunfight, it's initiating a good spawn there for number 6. Imagine now fighting from the front side alongside his teammates on to P1 holding P2.
Coming in a very big position, but he gets shut down immediately. Imagine still on this sub. I guess they're running a 3-sub setup for the side of point blank, and it is paying off for them. Still some big time to be had here if you're Altered Edge, but you've still got to deal with Fatty. That's a 4 streak for him, 24 and 8. Fatigue having a massive game, not looking as tired as he was in the first series. Now as he starts to crank up the heat, and they still have to deal with him as he continues to try and cut spawners in the rotations here for Altered Edge, and they will continue just finding so much value. Point blank locking in a lot of this big time, and this is where we start to see point blank's final form.
So hard as well. If you just had a Alt Edge break on him, we've got 2 barrels staring down your face as soon as you make contact with the hill. And imagine as soon as it gets high, it just adds even more pressure as well to Alt Edge on their choke points. They can't funnel in through archers, and they can't funnel in even through clock tower. So you're forcing a great pinch through mid here as well. And as soon as Kamada can find it, you need to make sure again that the last sub up in vision can try and touch time. But even then again, the breaks will come on clear. Number 7 spawns over out into nowhere from a great route, and Fatty can now wrap here for a P3.
Yeah, this is big positioning for Fatty. He's already in the back line. They have no idea he's there. The arrows still yet to tick around. A TK as well might cost them. Fatty in the back line is able to find 2. That's huge on almost the 3rd. Not going to quite find Kamado. Still, though, a lot of damage to be had as they clap back. Altered Edge now trying to secure some spawns, but this is a 100-point deficit now for Altered Edge. They need to try and make something back. And if you were doubting Point Blank Zark or Hydroelectric gameplay, they're definitely looking good going into Toronto. Even with Z dropping 9 kills and Cronus as well. But yeah, this is a very, very tough game for Altered Edge so far. It just seems like Point Blank are now starting to fire on all cylinders. Just let's talk about it. Altered Edge do find a break, and they do get themselves in.
Yeah, and holding from the front side here, it's very possible as well that Altered Edge could set the last 30 seconds on this point. What's really hard now for Point Blank is to try and rotate onto the next hill, because Altered Edge have got them boxed in the last 30 seconds on this point. Really becomes quite a hard contest here. Unless the kills are found, the lead will, well, the feed will light up blue, vision last alive. You're now initiating Point Blank here to try and push on in, but despite it all, the respawners will still favor based on the wonderful pinch here from Azza in the back.
Oh, Azza still popping shots. No shots will land. No kills, no dice. Unfortunately, Altered Edge not even able to grab the scrap time. Point blank all over them. They do break the triple point mark, but still, or triple digit, I should say, mark. But still, a lot of work to be had. Point blank just so far ahead. So much numbers ahead of them on the spawns and rotations that it's all up to Vision, all on his lonesome, and it's just going to be very difficult for Altered Edge to really do anything here in this position. We saw how impactful they were last time they were on this hill. We're going to see it here again. Even Kamado just grabbing the 1 kill. Got Z on the cross. Beautiful positioning for him to try and find some value. He's at least able to find the 1. But yeah, the cruise missile just goes bang. And this is Point Blank looking to close this out.
Indefinitely as well. Point blank here with no real cigars, and Altered Edge mathematically can't even touch time, especially at this point now. The crossfire's coming in. Point blank will take it over, and map 1 will go in the books. Point blank get it convincing on the Zarkro Hydroelectric. A much better response than the hotel we saw in the first series of the day. But that's what you'd expect at this point now for Point Blank in this position. Going through the winners, going through the losers, they do have a bit more time, a bit more reps, a bit more warmth in their hands, and realistically speaking, they saw it out comfortably. But more importantly as well, the stats for me looking very comfortable too, as even upon reflection, Fatty 31 and 17, and Imagine the 2 having a great game at 28 and 13. Realistically speaking, it was very positive all round from Point Blank.
Yeah, wow, I mean, regardless, you've just got to take that with some stride if you are Point Blank. It's been a great showing in the map number 1, and this is really what we were expecting from Point Blank in the first series. Some games like that, some dominance, but Altered Edge coming off cold, obviously not having the series and the reps in that Point Blank have had throughout the day. So, you know, maybe it's just a first map jitters. Get yourself back into it. You've got a Hotel Search and Destroy up next. I don't know how they're going to answer back here against Point Blank with all this momentum.
The momentum, though, is only one factor really in terms of these two teams. I would definitely also consider the likelihood as well of adaptation. because both of these teams have already met before. It was a 2 on the day to start things off with, a point blank for the first time are leading. So now Alt Edge really are in an awkward paradox where we are seeing almost a reversal. Now that they're in the back foot for the first time, they realistically have got quite a tall mountain to climb, because point blank come in pretty hot, especially from the losers game we saw earlier. They are already warm in the hands, they're feeling very confident, but realistically as well, it was a convincing hydroelectric. It was not a close game. It was a 140-point gap, and even the last closeout that you're seeing there, it was just crossfires constantly across the entirety of the map. The team coordination and the utility was beautiful.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's exactly what you expect coming out from a top 3 seed in APAC and a very dominant team. But now coming on to the Hotel Search and Destroy, Altered Edge looked very, very strong going into this map in the first series. Now we're seeing a repeat of it in the finals here. It's going to be interesting to see how Altered Edge perform coming up against the new and improved point blank. It seems like 250 to 111 is a very dominant lead in the first hard point.
Oh yeah, now, but we're going to be going into that S&D, and we're going to be talking so much and so particularly deep about how it's going to pan out, because realistically speaking, our only real sort of face value knowledge we have of these two teams in S&D is going to be that hotel, where again we saw 6 rounds chained back to back to back on the side of Altered Edge, when in reality the start of it looked very different. Point blank and full control for the first 4. So realistically now you're going to have to sort of try and at least get the discipline together, especially with the coach coming in to substitute. That discipline and that lane coordination needs to be there. And you already know beforehand the break-offs that we do see out of Altered Edge, they're very varied. Whether they're not going to be 4 hitting one site, they're going to be trying to stick a plant every single time on that attack. Whereas in reality for Point Blank, they like to play more passive and spread. They want to play for first bloods. Those are the two sorts of styles making for great S&Ds here, Remy.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's what we're going to see here coming into it. Map number 2 of this grand finals. Point Blank versus Altered Edge, already a B hit coming through. The only player left to try and deal with it is going to be Vision as he pushes up through Freezer, but he could pay for his positioning now as the pinch starts to come through. He gets some first shots in, but he's still got to deal with 4 more players from Point Blank, and this entry could be big. He's got the help of Kamado, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to fend off 4 players now as they try and make the entry. Some shots going out. The first kill will drop Vision, able to get one for the trade, but it's going to be Fatty with a nice 3-piece to end things off on this break. And now it's all up to one player, Trax, left in the 1 versus 3. He's able to find one, still keeping things alive, but unfortunately Point Blank just too dominant in their performance.
Great first run from Point Blank. We did see the initiation coming clear. I mean, listen, when it comes to breaking on to this point, maybe you want to try and throw a utility, get some wallbang shots through, just to at least get the points of contact across and at least get the players weakened, because when you are challing from the wide swing onto counters, you do face a strong chance of that headshot multiplier coming on in and dying, but reality came in. Point Blank simply had the timing, had the numbers. Despite a small trade-off at the start, going into a 3v1, it was only down to Fatty there going absolutely massive there, securing a huge 3, and then Trax in the 1v2 situation after that just was no cigar.
Now coming into it, got a big trade in the middle. That's going to be all players pretty much from Altered Edge dropping except for one. Vision now in the 1 versus 2. He's been stun checked. They know where he is. Cronus, Kun, and Z, the tale of 2 friends, realistically. These guys are very close outside of the game, outside of the team. Large reason that Z was on board with the coaching was because of Cronus Kun, but now we'll see if they can get it done against a Vision. The dead silence getting popped, and now Vision has to try and make a route towards mid, grab the bomb, and try and make a play, but he has no info.
So smart here from Point Blank as well. They are respecting the mid push as well, because the way they want to play this, at least it's going to be retake. As Vision looks to stick it towards A, the arrows from Point Blank are going to close it in from both sides, with all of what is going to be a huge pinch coming in.
Oh, and Cronus would have heard him. Would have known his route, but it's an interesting route coming out from Vision. He doesn't know where the player is, or the players are, sorry, for Point Blank, but already trying to hop the defuse. Z gets caught. Cronus knows where he's at, but it's an AR versus Vaznev gunfight. I don't know if they know where each other's are. The timing could be paying dividends for Altered Edge, but unfortunately it falls short. Cronus Kun's able to get it now, a 3-0 for Cronus Kun as he starts to chip away on streaks, and a 2-0 up for Point Blank.
And it's just so clinical, especially from the side of Point Blank. They are, in fact, winning situations now in the first sort of rounds. You do get these preliminary ideas where, realistically, later on in the series and in the map in particular, they're going to be faced with such hard situations. These 1v1s, these 2v2s, with really a lot of pressures on the line. They're winning them convincingly. And Cronus Kuhn, then, back-to-back rounds, alongside Faddy, has pulled off some very intelligent gameplay. And even the 1v1 there in the end, Trax played everything perfect. It was only down to the one check, the one corner, which just happened. And on the break off there, the set nades will determine points of contact.
The trophies coming in. They're going to go for a quick A plant. As is there to try and watch the cross, the typical position we see from Altered Edge. Unfortunately, I don't know if it'll have as much value as they immediately get the bomb down with no players dropped. So now they're in post plant, 40 seconds left on the clock as Z pushes towards the mid, but Kamado is going to shut it down immediately. The trade is good from Fatty, but I don't know if Altered Edge can really make the reads here. Az is looking straight at Fatty, though, as he just hops back up the ladder. Pretend like he didn't see anything, buddy. But imagine still locking down the spawns. He's almost able to grab the back line kill on a Kamado. Unfortunately, not enough. 20 seconds left on the clock at 2 versus 2. They have to get moving. It has to be now. You check this bomb at 7.5 and you've done it. It's a similar situation to what we saw in the final round of the first series, but I don't know if it's going to be a repeat. Cronus Kun, too strong, locking things down, but as is on the bomb, I think it might be a repeat of exactly what we saw in the last round. Enough time to get it done. 0.0 seconds. Wow.
That is literally milliseconds off, you know, tenths, hundredths of a second, to be fair. But the way the Cronus Kun played that 1v2, realistically, you had the cover as well to check both sides. I think the pressure from Kamado as well, being so close, he felt the need to challenge this. But realistically speaking, you hold your discipline because, realistically speaking, you have to go for the bomb. You know the left swing is going to be kicking him for a little while. But realistically as well, we're looking at, a 3v2. They have man advantage. Everything was locked in the back line. Maybe if Imagine didn't lose the important 1v1 in the back there, it wouldn't have triggered all the alarm bells now inside of Point Blank to maybe check more corners and clear the backside from potentially a huge hit from the players lurking around. But in this next round, we're looking at what looks to be a 3-1 split. Bomb being carried towards B.
Yeah, the bomb carrier is singled out towards B here as they try and bait the A. Look at Cronus Kun. No fear in the world as he tries to catch players off towards connector. No one's there, but imagine getting the first blood will be massive to give the advantage to Point Blank now at 3 versus 4. Kamado, Azza, and Trax now left to try and bring this back, and you still see Kamado with that bomb towards the B site, all isolated, and they're going to try and push up as well. If he gets caught, this could be bad. He's going to try and re-swing this bomb towards A, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it.
They've got a huge window here to try and get it stuck down, but look at this still here. Imagine very much holding on. Holding on.
Imagine on the cross.
Comes down to
wow.
one more. You make sure that Kamado can try and hold on, especially with bomb in hand here. The 1v3 is going to be so hard, Remy, to actually get out of. The lanes of exit are difficult because Point Blank are holding so well. The mid control is there. Low mid control is there. And even off this, one more player wait around the corner.
Oh, and you probably get spotted from Z there as well. He's getting stun checked. He's getting pressured out. No shots will land. Z with a big ego chal. That'll land Point Blank their third round here. And Altered Edge looking a little bit worse for wear when it comes to their search and destroy gameplay here. But we saw this in the first series. Point Blank got a lead early and then ended up falling behind. But they are looking pretty strong now, Point Blank, having a lot of impact on the map, and that was largely due to Christopher Darabay there with that AR, just shutting everything down on that cross. No players able to get through, finds 3 for the round, and goes for the ego shell on that last player. Unfortunately, didn't land, but still, Point Blank up 3-1.
It's impressive. It's really impressive as well, and definitely revitalized Point Blank here in S&D. I mean, of course, they did lose one round, respectfully, the Auto Edge is wonderful retaking a 2v3, but now and again, an aggressive A on the menu. But look at Old Edge, already covering lanes for pinches, looking at Berate.
Fatty, first engagement, he finds Azza. That's huge. He's pushed up as well. Track's hard aiming it. He's going to try and reposition, but Imagine off screen finds vision now. 1 versus 1 between Fatty and Trax, but Cronus Kun's joining the action, and this is going to be a very difficult gunfight as the third player drops for Altered Edge. It's all up to Kamado still with his Lockman AR. He's able to find 1 in the hands of Z, but still 1 versus 4, turn 1 versus 3. This is a very difficult task as Imagine's in his sights as well. He's able to find the second, so that is huge to at least make this feasible.
Right now, again, it's a real swap around the map as Altered Edge do look to try and take this one. Again, you're clearing up 2 players from Point Blank, but this might be doable as every single player from Point Blank has thrown a life away. It's down to Cronus Kun in the 1v1, but all the bridge here, Kamado doing fantastic.
A 1 versus 1 from the 1 versus 4. Can Kamado do what he knows where Cronus Kun's posted up, but the attack just too powerful, too much DPS. He'll get taken out and Point Blank go 4-1, but a good effort from Kamado nonetheless. He was able to grab some big kills, there to try and make that clutch a reality. Unfortunately, it's a different multiverse we live in. 5-1 for Cronus Kun. He's having an absolute game on the search and destroy. And that's exactly what you see out of your main AR, and a very strong main AR at that out of Cronus Kun.
I think the way they're playing it, especially in these recent rounds, we are seeing Point Blank get a little bit more reckless, a little bit more careless, and that's absolutely fine because they'll get man advantage, but at the same time they're throwing it away. There really is a discipline as soon as the man advantage is established, but regardless of that, you have to lock in those lanes because right now it's going to be a huge hit towards B, especially for Point Blank's defense. But the way Altered Edge are playing it, very static, want the info calls early, and needs to be thrown.
A lot of utility getting burned. No one really looking for the cross, but Imagine still posted up towards this middle area. This is where it starts to get very difficult for Altered Edge. You saw how difficult it was to cross last time. Will it be the same amount of difficult this time? They try and mount up towards the bomb, but the first blood is drawn. Point Blank now getting the advantage. 3 versus 4 for Altered Edge, and this is a very similar story to what we see time and time again between these two teams.
Oh, this mid-step is just so hard to break, especially with Point Blank never disciplined to hold it. You fear from Util to throw you off it, but maybe not.
Ooh, Fatty, though, getting a little bit overzealous. Does pay for his crimes, and Trax as well now able to find Z, so Imagine and Cronus left in the 2 versus 3. I don't know how they might find the value that they're looking for, but Cronus Kun just taking heads, assassinates Vision off the map, and now they swing this bomb towards A. It's a great play from Altered Edge, but I don't know if Point Blank will read it or not. Cronus Kun continuing to hold the cross, and Cubito's in his sights. He's able to find that one. So Trax is next on the chopping block, and Cronus able to find that last kill. Secure Point Blank the round 5, break the curse from the 4-0 that they had last time. Now 1 round away from taking this 6-1.
Very back and forth in this round particularly. You did look at the moments where, and again, the setup was locked in, but Altered Edge found the necessary kills, especially to try and break through on the site. It was down to Cronus Kun's first kill of that wonderful 3. That completely stopped the initial push, because realistically speaking, they already set up and made a play call to go to B, hence why the swing was so committed. But as soon as Cronus Kun found it, they were going to go for it anyway, try and commit the plant. But realistically speaking, those were 2 clear kills, which resulted in the cruise missile coming online for Point Blank.
Yeah, this is where Kai can really start to take over. Cronus Kun's 6th streak for him, 9-1. This is exactly what we were kind of expecting to see out of Point Blank now in the grand finals. They're such a strong, put-together team. You've got Z, 1-5, but still such a dominant performance from Point Blank. Right now, the streak gets called in. No kills will be found, but some information gained. Now, as they try and push this bomb towards the A side, they know the setup that Altered Edge are holding. Just whether or not they can execute it will be up to decide. From Point Blank here, but Kai finally shut down. Cronus Kun will drop. So now a 2 versus 3, for Point Blank, as the bomb is in the hands of Z. And I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this one off. Altered Edge looking good in this round so far.
Oh, that's a good spot there as well. On to Azza. But Imagine needs to try and find clear kills alongside Z. And with a huge entry there, Z now can commit towards the plant. Imagine just playing for information around both sides. There's a huge spot from the outer, because now it's going to be a 1v2 situation. As Trax, now all alone, has not given away information yet as to where he might be.
Oh, he knows where Imagine is. Get some shots onto Z. Imagine also in his sights, going to take some heavy hits. Unfortunately, though, no kills yet. You've got 27 seconds left on the clock. This could very well be a 2-0 to Point Blank now as they try and close out this search and destroy. This would have to be a freak 2-piece and a very strong setup coming in from Point Blank. Trax now pushing through to this outer side of Kitchen. Looking to try and make the engagement, but it's not enough. And Point Blank taking this grand finals by storm now, 6-1 up. 2 very dominant maps back-to-back.
Oh, it's beautiful to watch as well, as now we do head into the LCD controls, our 3rd map. But if need be, the Herzog Hardpoint and the LCD will be on the menu. I really do think at this point, though, that we are seeing the Point Blank we do know and love, especially rehashing out the differences and finding form after that first series against Altered Edge.
Yeah, and I know they're very keen to try and take this finals and grab that HF8 haptic gaming chair that we all know and love, or gaming pad, I should say. Not necessarily the chair, but still. Reminder as well to grab your discount codes, 5% at pagnian.com if you are Australian, and then nextlevelracing.com if you are anywhere out of the land from down under. Still, great performance from Point Blank. Now up 2-0, looking to try and sweep this grand finals 3-0. Coming onto the control and Alasilo, it's going to be very difficult for these two teams to go head-to-head, especially Altered Edge trying to bounce back now off of 2 very dominant performances.
Yeah, and not just dominant as well. They actually look so comfortable in every regard of the Z&D. There's only one round really where it looked like it was done and dusted, especially after that convincing 2-3 retake from Altered Edge, but it was rounds 5 and 6. It was rounds 5 and 6, particularly where Point Blank started to come clear. Cronus Kuhn lighting players up, and alongside it as well, Z actually entering with bomb and managing so many successful post plants. It was fantastic from Point Blank.
Yeah, and you know, you've come off of 2 back-to-back wins. If you're Point Blank, you're feeling confident. Clearly got the confidence going into an Alessilo control. It's going to be very difficult for Altered Edge. I mean, I don't know what I would like to see out of them. Some AR presence, potentially. I don't know if the Lockman AR is really the key to success here if you are Altered Edge. I'll just say it. Just looks very bad. So it doesn't look as good as attack. It doesn't look like it hits as heavy. It doesn't look as strong. But you know what? Maybe they found something special with it. I'm not sure. Kamado is committing to it. So see if it's put out here on Alessilo, where it's a map that really heavy favors the AR being the attack.
And even better than that as well, you do really head into the last portions of this and you think realistically about what can Point Blank do better. I mean, realistically, the situation they're in, again, with the substitute coming in and the 3 players just trying to formulate plans and try and fit Z into the frame for this series, it's impressive. It is definitely one that you would know in terms of what Point Blank are looking to try and achieve and do here, but the LSD control is just so difficult in the same ways you can play it, particularly the way the way the Altered Edge wants to try and get this done and dusted. I mean, this is your chance to try and get one back in the books here, but again, Point Blank are on fire.
Yeah, I mean, once they find form, they are a very difficult team to beat. And honestly, you see it throughout their entire career, right? If you ever watch them play, it just seems like they almost just float through to a finals and then, end up just clutching up and looking unstoppable. We saw it in the LCQ. We see it in all the big moments that they try and put forth where they somehow create an upset just because it's almost like they switch on out of nowhere. They're almost breezing through the first part of a tournament. And I think that's what we're seeing here yet again, right? You take a look at the first 2 maps that we just saw in the first series, and then you look at this series, and it gets your head scratching. It was looking close between these 2 teams at the start, and now it's looking like a one-sided affair towards Point Blank, which is very interesting. Considering they have a sub, it would be even more scary if they had Jarzen. But you know what? Coming into the control, it's a different game mode, it's a different level of pacing. It's Alessilo, it's a different map. You haven't played it. Will this be the same story? I don't think so. Control is a very different game mode, and it'll be interesting to see how Point Blank coordinates this, given they have a substitute with Coach Z. But nonetheless, we're going to get into it now. Map number 3, Alessilo Control. This is for all the chips. Point Blank 1 map away from taking the grand finals and taking their HF8 Haptic gaming pad home with them. And this is going to be very exciting to see.
It's impressive as well to know, because this is a very weird mid. This is a very, very interesting mid push that Point Blank are trying to achieve. It does open up lots of lanes where Altered Edge can just look to collapse and close on in, and really only Z has found his way forward. But what it does do on the respawn is, despite number 6 position there from Kamado, gives them 3 tower spawns. Now Point Blank can opt to push it as a free and try and break on through, but realistically, crossfires from Altered Edge are always going to be a living threat.
Still though, you've got the AR pushed up now with Cronus Kuhn. There's going to be some very big damage if he's able to find it and secure it. Vision now dropping the sub in the hands of Cronus Kuhn. Dual welding both close range and long range. It's definitely not an easy gunfight by any means if you're the side of Altered Edge. Now he's got everything covered, but Trax now pulling out the Lockman AR. You've got Imagine in the backline. This is where it can start to get very, very dangerous and very deadly coming off a spawn if you're Altered Edge. You don't want Imagine locking down the spawns, but still no real progress being gained for Point Blank. They have found themselves a way through the back, but that's only for lives. You need to start capping some points.
Yeah, absolutely. But look at Point Blank right now, what they're trying to at least do. The time's trickled on down because Altered Edge have played so static. It's been a real lane threat for Point Blank to even attempt these aggressive pushes. But now we're seeing some progress on A. Kamado needs to at least try and rally the troops.
Yeah, Kamado now trying to push through the outside. You've got 8 seconds left to try and fend them off of this A point. Still trying to find a way in. Trax will get dropped, but Cronus Kuhn now on 6 HP. Finds Azra up the top, but somehow takes his head off. I don't know how he's found that kill, but that is huge now. A full wave down for Altered Edge. Point Blank continuing to try and press the attack now onto this A zone. This could be the second segment coming through now as Kai is all alone trying to cap this point, but still. Imagine now on the rock, trying to find another kill off spawn. Unfortunately, the nade will take care of him, but that's an A zone cap. It looks like really only got Vision to try and make an impact. Not going to happen. Now a minute left on the clock as they try and push towards B.
And at this point now as well, Point Blank did buy a lot of time there, especially when it was down to the wire. But look at the way Altered Edge want to play it. Despite the 1 life difference, look at the trophies on B, and the players just swarming around bricks. It only initiates now Point Blank to try and at least funnel through the south side of the map, because there isn't really any rooms for error at this point now. With Fatty's positioning in the back, you can't run around and be aggressive. You need to play your life and find 2 clear-cut kills, as well as stopping number 5 from getting any sort of lane pressure from the respawns.
Well, he at least gets the one that he was looking for, as though is a threat now for Point Blank, because they need to try and take him out of their top building. Imagine, though, with the AR is trying to lock things down, but as he's rerouting, he's getting behind these players. That could be a big 2-piece now as they try and press towards B, but still very even life count. Only 16 seconds left for Point Blank to deal with now as they try and push towards the B zone, but see, he's going to get cut off his route as well. Now you've got Azza pushing up, and they are finding form now, Altered Edge, as Point Blank have no real players towards B. The stick comes through, though. Fatty is close. He could contest for at least a second. He does dive onto the point, so somehow 0.5 seconds left. It's not going to be enough, though. Point Blank will fall, and Altered Edge with a nice round 1, a 3-tick attack from Point Blank.
I think as well, at the start, Point Blank could have closed it out so much earlier in a way, but the way Altered Edge did so well first off the first ticks, and cutting it down to at least 6 seconds before anything was going, you then gave it back to Point Blank as soon as the first ticks came through and they were playing for B because, oh great, they got the free wrap, but it was Altered Edge's B setup that really threw off Point Blank. They had every trophy down, they completely covered bricks, and they had pressure from the top vertical part on balcony, where literally you could oversee the respawners coming in from tower. The only real thing you got to really commend though again was Azza with the sub, because despite finding kills in mid, it eliminated the pressure in the back and just now it's the cruise missile online for the side of Altered Edge. Yeah,
wow, and just like that, I mean, look at Point Blank's defense coming into the second round here. All 4 players dropped immediately. 26-30 now in life count. Azza at least able to grab one back for himself with Z, but look at Fatty's positioning. He's able to push up. Good teamwork, though, to break into the top area now as they try and push through, but you have a lot of work to do if you're Altered Edge. You can't really find yourself onto a point, but look at Cronus Kun. He's caught off guard, and now his B zone might open up a little bit, and they could get some progress going here on the B, and realistically, you don't really have too many reinforcements to send to it. Only Z in the middle of the map with an SMG.
Yeah, and all really that Z can do here is maybe play the audio cues, because a good Point Blank right now in the back. They are very much dedicated towards stopping any pressure on B, despite A not even being progressed by Altered Edge. They just want to have a spawn trap and play for the waves. This is really old school control right now. They're playing for the TDM kills so that at least to get a 10 life cushion, and then they're going to go for a point because they know the insurance policy will be there regardless of the time. They're going to have the life advantage.
Yeah, they've done a good job of at least trying to find some kills back, but I mean, still, all that seemed to really not amount to much. You didn't get any progress on either side. You did even up the lives a little bit, but regardless, it's not really a big impact. Z now with the entry is able to find 1, but it's just not going to be too much going for Altered Edge here. They get 1 segment on A, and if they're able to clean up this defense Point Blank with, you know, less than 3 ticks, Altered Edge are going to be in dangerous territory. This is a map 3. This is grand finals. You can't be affording to drop any more rounds that you should be winning. But regardless, Altered Edge finally able to get some progress on A. I think Point Blank are just going to chalk it. They're not going to go towards it. And now they set up towards the speed zone attack.
At this point now, you have to respect the A commitment from the side of Altered Edge. Point Blank now got to try and set up for B, but looking at the spread, it's very clear to me they were like such as Imagine and Fatty to get the out lane control out of the way, because the Spike Shots down in the mid, as soon as Altered Edge start to aggress forward and get out, they need to commit to so many different lanes and so many different angles. It's such a wide variety, because Kamado playing the back of the Lockman will free up space in the mid where you can see the likes of Trax and Azza try and push out.
Both they are swinging for Point Blank now. Some lives starting to dwindle away for Altered Edge, but still having a tough time grabbing Imagine off of that top AC area. Z pushed up towards tools as well, needs to be taken care of, which Vision will do so successfully. But you need to have some more impact here if you're Altered Edge. You need to start finding some more opening kills, otherwise you're not going to have any variation here under your attack. And look at Point Blank come alive. 3 players out of the 4 now grabbing some big kills, and Imagine is on a 5 streak. Cronus Kun now grabbing a 2, and this is where you can start to get very dangerous for Altered Edge. No real impact here on the map. 7 lives left, and they will continue dropping as Fatty gets a nice 2-piece towards the middle of the map. And this is going to be very, very difficult now, as realistically the only player left to do some damage here as he seeps through towards the alley side. But you've got 3 lives left. You don't have a lot of time. 8 seconds left on the clock. The best he can hope for is 1 segment.
Yeah, but it's still good enough. I do think as well between the Altered Edge, you are playing numbers, you are playing lives, but the more time you buy, especially here, you're on the side of Altered Edge, you need to talk about the next round ahead because you know it's going to be 1-1. You know, realistically, that you can't afford many more options, especially in that round, so you think ahead to the next. It's called a French timeout. It's realistically when you start are in no possibility of winning the round, but you're still playing to play for, but you just start talking about the round ahead. You take this as an opportunity to just get everything out of the way, you know, the things that happened that round that went wrong, and get ahead in the next round before you're even in it. You know, it really is a way of resetting and a way of getting forward. But the way it is right now, point blank 1-1. So far, strong performance out of Fatty as he gets the cruise missile online as well. But realistically, Azza slowing down significantly in this round despite a strong start.
Yeah, and honestly, Fatty switching to that sub role, of course, being on the AR early in the season, it just fit into it seamlessly, it seems like. Every time I see him playing with that sub, he is just having a lot of impact on the map, and we're seeing it here yet again. He's back on the AR, just as I was talking about his sub gameplay. Regardless, he's going to be in the 6th streak, now making it a 7 as he pushes towards the back line, and this is where Altered Edge could get in a bit of trouble. You see the pressure starting to mount, the map opening up, and Point Blank continue to find themselves a way through. The left and right, though, crosses up Cronus Kun, and now Vision is able to at least allow Altered Edge some time to breathe.
Yeah, but look at this right now again. Some big kills on the south of the map that allow Altered Edge now to just at least get the pressure off. But Trax there was so valuable. Now his life's lost. Point Blank can just rush through onto B, fight for the back control, and even better than that, try and play the pincers because that's a huge kill onto Vision there. Point Blank playing numbers, so full control can get B out the way straight away.
Yeah, already now starting to stack this B zone point. This is where it could get dangerous for Altered Edge. You don't have a lot of options here, especially with Fatty in the back. He does get taken care of, though. Some good shots come out, but you've got Cronus caught on the point with the AR. This is where you can start to lock things in. Az is trying to dance around with a sub. I don't think he has enough bullets. He's going to get taken out. And now a full wave down for Altered Edge. Kamado is in the back. He's really your saving grace if you're Altered Edge now, as Imagine pushes out these spawns. This is where it starts to get very, very dangerous for Altered Edge. 2 segments through for B. Make that a 2nd kill for Imagine as well. Now Altered Edge just dropping like flies. The kill feed lighting up blue. And this is a B zone cap. This is a very difficult position for Altered Edge to be in.
Oh, look at the cruise missile as well. It's just so well tailored. You can stick it anywhere you want, but despite it all, the spawn does in fact at least protect the players for Altered Edge. But look at the ARs already posted up trying to get kills down, and look at that 7 life difference already from those 2 big plays.
Yeah, no value coming through now. Cronus Kun deep on that cliff area. He's taken care of, but this is where Point Blank can just lock it in and potentially sweep an attacking round. This would be very dangerous for Altered Edge. But Trax is at least able to grab 1 kill back. It's 2 segments through an A. Z's all alone on the point, trying to solo cap it. He's got the sub. He's trying to dance around, but Fatty's there for the help as well with Vision. That'll be a 2-piece out of him, and that'll be an A-zone cap. No one near the point, and that will be a 2-1 up for Point Blank as they now take defense. And this is a very, very, very difficult position for Altered Edge to try and bring themselves back in here. And we could be looking at our grand finals here with Point Blank.
You can definitely. Altered Edge have the backs against the wall. This is the first time we've seen them right now, especially today where they're in this situation. And what a worse time it could be in the grand final where all the marbles are thrown out, all the dice has rolled, your cards just laid flat out on the table. It needs to be strong and it needs to be convincing if Altered Edge want to get back. But realistically speaking, they've already got around on the board already. Point Blank, though, winning that attack might just be the tipping point, especially this break off. But look at it right now, it's mid-control. Instantly, but Point Blank would have flied out already, respecting the B and sending Imagine deep onto radio to get the pressure off.
Oh, Z and Fatty have been working around each other very well throughout this control. But you can see the core 3 standing out here for Point Blank, all above 20 kills, all with a very impressive KD. Imagine as well in the back line. He's got the cruise in the back pocket if he wishes to use it. But Fatty now starting to streak up. This is a very interesting position for Altered Edge as they try and push through, or at least try and shut down Fatty, but he's running for a dear life. He's continuing to stay alive as he repositions completely up the ladder. He's gone like a puff of smoke, and he's able to continue keeping that streak alive. 5 streaks as he baits that player in, and now Altered Edge struggling to even get anything going here on the offense. It's a very difficult situation. I can't stress that enough. Altered Edge just continue to get pressed back.
Yeah, and they're getting pressed back to the point now where they're too scared to commit. But realistically, though, there's so much value here on Trax to try and at least get time. But you're buying even more for Fatty with precision now on bricks. Despite Cronus Kun playing in mid, it just flushes every single player of Altered Edge out of the building and into a gunfight, which they are not ready to take.
As they're alone in the B zone, trying to make the hero play for Altered Edge, but I don't think he has enough in the tank. He's got the sub, he's switching it immediately over towards A. He's just trying to stall, buy some time for his team, but you've got 16 seconds left. You've got so many players to deal with. Trax is at least able to open things up momentarily, and Azza and Kamado now, as Altered Edge start to come alive, each player playing their part, but Lucas Fatty's patience, he's able to find Trax here on B. That'll alleviate some pressure from Point Blank as they try and readjust towards A. But they might be at least able to get the A zone capped here if you're Altered Edge. That's a saving grace. You can add some time on the clock and at least have a bit of breathing room. But look at the streak coming in from Imagine. If they don't have a trophy down, this could be bad. But no, they do have the setup and they do survive to see another day, if only momentarily.
Yeah, and it's good. Now A comes offline, looking for a B, but look at the lives slowly start to trickle down. Altered Edge there, despite getting a cap, have completely lost position there because there was 2 respawners to 4 alive Point Blank players. And there and again, running straight into spawn and immediately cutting them off, and now it's completely wrapping Kamado nowhere near a clear pinch onto B. But instead, to fight the respawners and fight the players of Point Blank so far ahead in mid.
Or Imagine getting some shots put into him. It won't be enough to get the kill, though. And now, Azza, the saving grace for Altered Edge. He's been having a monster game so far. He's trying to continue to press the pace here for his team. I don't know if it's going to be enough. He does take down Cronus Kud now as he tries to re-wrap the spawn. He almost got some good timing. He does have that cruise. It's yet to be used. Don't know if it's going to be enough to really open up the map. But still, live's starting to dwindle away for Point Blank now. Crew's getting called in for Altered Edge. This could be a sweep if Vision's able to do enough damage, but still, not enough value done with the Cruise. Never mind, it's able to find 2. I thought that it had been used up already, but still, now that's 3 players from Point Blank getting dropped. The wave starts to come in now, and the tick starts to come through on B, so this could be an absolute sweep from Altered Edge as they try and press out these spawns as much as possible. They don't have a lot of time. Point Blank mad dash towards this B zone control as Cronus Kun tries to open things up. He's able to find all 4 with the help of his team, and 20 seconds left, 3 lives remaining. Altered Edge looking to go home here in the Down Under Invitational.
Difficult right now because look how much B is left. Only Imagine now starting to clear it with 2 players left through mid. It's Azza, your last hope, your last entry alongside Kamado. They have the pinch on Imagine, but realistically with 2 seconds left, they need to run on through, and Azza can only do so much. Only keep it there as now Point Blank, they walk away as your champions.
Wow, and I'm sure they'll enjoy all their rewards for taking this one home. Beautiful stuff out of Point Blank. Almost getting turned on here, Imagine, with no aim assist through the fence. But regardless, a very difficult, hard-fought win for Point Blank now. And yeah, very, very difficult series for Altered Edge, and kind of what I expected to see Point Blank bouncing back here in the finals.
Yeah, I do think I have to give Point Blank their commitments there because they have just completely free-owned the grand final and really fit Z into, at least a good flex role for this position because you are filling the boots of Jars and you're just taken on the 10th seed in APAC and done extremely well in their convincing 3-0. Regardless of it, though, I do think Point Blank, especially in that series with shaky at times, Azza was a lethal threat on the submachine gun, and so was, a fair amount of plays that was committed on the side of Altered Edge.
Yeah, he's a player that's definitely stood out from that team. He's a very big playmaker, and he's been having a lot of value with the sub. So props to him. Unfortunate, Altered Edge, they do fall short here in the finals, but Point Blank, yeah, grabbing their HFA gaming, Haptic gaming pad, and they're going to be enjoying that one for sure. I'm sure they'll feel very immersed in the game. Feel like they're actually playing the game rather than just sitting here on their monitor. So it'll be very interesting to see how they talk about that in the off the screen. But still, regardless, very good, very strong performance for Point Blank, and they really showed them why they're the 3rd seed, even with that sub.
Yeah, realistically speaking, though, I would say that Point Blank now at this point in the season, despite looking incredibly stronger in this tournament, have got so much more to prove. When it comes to the Call of Duty, you've got at least 2-3 months left of the game before we wrap up, competitively with Tier 2. They are fighting for so much, and so are Altered Edge. They have to at least fight for not just qualifications to champs, but through the LCQ as well. Yeah, it's going to be quite mixy in Australia and New Zealand. Oceania's a very, very tough region.
Yeah, honestly, it's ambitious putting New Zealand in here. We've got 1 player. It's Mish. But, regardless, it is ANZ COD. We've had some success stories with Cruise and Swift Azor. But still, regardless, it's an interesting region for sure. And yeah, there's a lot to prove down here. And it'll be interesting to see how all these teams that are going over to Toronto, Point Blank being one of them, compete and show off there. I'm sure they'll have a great time down there as well, or up there, I should say, since we're down under. But regardless, yeah, a great series, a great showing, and I think that'll be about it from us as we wrap things up. I'm not sure if there's anything else left on the cards, but still a great.
We'll do. Hang on.
Oh wait, hold on a minute. Yeah, I'm just seeing.
You've said it as well, haven't you? You know what's happening now. Okay, an interview.
Okay. I missed the chat. You got to apologize to me. We're doing an interview with Kai, my boy, as we get him going. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I'm excited. We get to do a player interview with Kai as he joins us right now. Cronus Kun, Kai, how we doing? What's going on, mate? How are we feeling after that?
You know the vibes. Winner things. We don't lose. Well, we did lose. We did lose, but anyway.
I was about to say, what happened in the first series, mate? Give us a little breakdown.
Basically, what happened is that these guys were just unreal. Like, I don't know what to say. They're legit unreal. That's an S&D first 4 rounds. Just nice and easy. Play our game, whatever. And then the next 6 rounds, every time I gave up something, I'm shot in the back. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, it was criminal. It was absolutely criminal, mate.
Yeah, I mean, they were looking good. I'm surprised. What do you think about the Lockman AR being ran from Altered Edge? I saw you guys pulling it out a bit.
Yeah.
Just surprised to see it.
I pulled that thing out on one map and never again.
Horrendous.
That thing sucks. That thing is terrible.
It's so bad.
It kills quick if you get a couple headshots. But like, if you try jump shot or anything with that thing, you feel like a slug, mate. Can't move.
Yeah, I'm sure it was something. It would have definitely been a shock to the system. But they committed to it throughout all 3 maps, and it was very interesting. But yeah.
I think I'll go on it as well. When it comes to you guys coming in today as well, you were playing with not with Jars at this time, but Z. I want to kind of get into the mindset a little bit as to how it was today with the coach coming in today.
I mean, as always, it's always fun playing with Z because you probably don't know, you probably aren't aware, but Z like loves a rage. And like after every death, you shoot. Man, like it's just funny. It's just so.
He loves that.
He loves that. Man. But yeah, I mean, playing with Z is fun. Like he knows what we do and stuff, so he fills the gaps fine.
And even more than that as well, when it came to like, Alter Edge in general, I mean, we're looking towards champs at this point for you guys, because last year you qualified and it was quite an impressive showing, being the first ever Australian team to come into the new format of champs over in, last year in California. Whereas now it's going to be 2 teams going through. Really, what's competition looking like in every APAC region? You got your Mind Freaks, you got everyone else. It's quite tense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's the cups and stuff, but it's online, so everyone's just running sound EQ and stuff. So I don't know how much. You only take so much away from that. Like, I mean, teams are starting to scrim now. You got like MF and EXM, well, ex-EXM are playing now, and you also got like that Zooks team. So like, there's a decent amount of scrims going around, and hopefully like we can actually get better. Because for a while we tried to scrim every night, and there was literally no scrims. Like we literally couldn't get a scrim for like weeks.
Yeah, it's tough down here. I don't think people really realize what the ANZ COD culture is like, or APAC in general. The COD culture is like. I know you guys were running some 2v2 bockers before champs last year.
Yeah,
so
I just want to put that out there. So
always
everyone
interesting.
knows that was the only practice we had leading into champs. We played 2v2 bockage hardpoints every night. That was our only practice.
Oh yeah, it's rough. It's rough down here. We make do. But you know what? That's part of being part of the APAC scene. It's always some good fun. But congrats on the win. Congrats, taking it home. I'm sure that Altered Edge are a bit gutted, but you know what? With the Z, the Goach substitute, you guys were the coach, Jay-Z. He played his part. He did fine. You guys were really fine in form in the control. So. How do you, that's my real last question going into it. What do you guys think about like your game modes, maps and modes? You guys love just insta-banning Mikado. How are you feeling about your map selection going into Toronto?
Yeah, so essentially, I don't want to get too much into it, but Mikado, that map's dog shit. Like, it's just bad.
Everyone was saying you hate the spawns.
You literally just rotate to a hill and you just aim up and hope for the best. I feel like the other maps, like, the better team wins like more percentage of the time playing the other maps compared to Mikado. Like Mikado is kind of like a coin flip map. But I don't want to say what our bans are, but like we've solidified our bans. We're really happy to play like Fortress and Hotel, I think. But apart from that, map selection is like pretty big at the moment. We play pretty much any map.
Yeah, I was surprised obviously seeing Zarqua getting played. I know that Chris said that he didn't feel confident. Then obviously towards DreamHack, he was saying, you know, coming in, he's feeling pretty confident. You guys put, you know, got a pretty diverse map pool going into it. But yeah, that's pretty much it from us, I believe. But appreciate you for coming on, for putting on a show for us, and congrats on the win.
No worries, mate. Thanks for the cast as always. Appreciate it. Can't wait to watch it back.
Yeah, enjoy it, mate. The first map,
100%.
the first series was fun. I'm
It wasn't
surprised you
fun
guys.
for me, mate.
It was fun for me. I love seeing you guys lose. No,
Thanks,
kidding,
Trey. Thanks, Trey.
No, I'm kidding. You know I love you guys. You know there's a lot of love from you, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats. Good luck in Toronto as well. I hope you guys do well over there and kill it.
Yep, no worries. Thanks very much, mate.
No worries.
See you later.
Okay, well, I don't know what's up next, but we've got Chixa joining us on the desk again. How are we doing?
You know, I finished all my popcorn, like, pretty much, because that's how that match went. I was just eating, and they were dropping kills, and they were just stomping, and I was like, oh, man, point blank. They look so much different than in that first series of the day. I like the changes that they made. They just seem pumped up. You know, right coming into the interview, he was like, yeah, we don't lose. Well, we did lose, but we came back from it. And, you know, I was really happy to see them. So, of course, congratulations to them. They do get to take home those HF8 haptic feedback gaming pads, as well as those next level racing elite gaming chairs, leather and suede edition. Man, that just makes it that much better. But yeah, what did you
Love
guys
leather and
think?
suede.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got to. But what do you guys think of those changes? The changes that they had.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look, I'll be honest. Point blank, not really a huge surprise. They do bounce back, you know, when it comes to the big moments. But I was honestly probably more surprised with how Altered Edge performed. Although that it was a wiping in the stat department. When you look at the scores, I think that they just played better than I think most people expected them to, and they really did create a little bit of an upset in terms of how they performed, and they can't really be mad with that. That's the beauty of having competitions like this and that sort of thing, is to be able to showcase your talent, showcase your growth, and they have been improving. So that is where you realistically you got to be, right? They're a new team, newer players coming into it. They just need to get better. And that's what we're seeing, and I'm glad to see that they were able to at least show something in that first series.
Absolutely. Well, who are we feeling like the MVP for today was? We gotta name somebody. Who is it? I'm going with the Goach in Jay-Z, because you know what? He played his best. I love the fact that they use the Goach term, because that's pretty nice, pretty neat. You know, he stepped up to the plate. They needed somebody. He decided. I think as the day went on, like I said, he just got better. Very shaky start, but he started popping off, having his moments. So love to have your coach just kind of be there to support you, other than from the sidelines.
Well, I mean, in terms of my MVP, to be fair, I actually will go and deviate towards the side of Altered Edge. I'll actually give it to Azza. I thought he played really well, to be fair. Very talented, very fast. I think maybe at this point now, watching this back for their side and for their team, he would learn quite a few lessons. Because, again, point blank, are a team to teach and dominate. And in this position for Altered Edge, it's still positive regardless. I mean, they got quite a lot of talent. They got quite a lot of show. But Azza did strike me out as a player that really can run us up.
Yeah, I think he was definitely a standout for me as well. I wouldn't name him as the MVP in my books. I think that goes to Fatty. I think throughout every series, he was at least is definitely a very impactful player for Point Blank there. I mean, there were some good moments from everyone, but yeah, I think Fatty was just consistently putting up the best numbers. Was really, you know, putting Point Blank on the backpack a little bit. I mean, you got to give props to Jay-Z for hopping in. I mean, I don't know where Corey is at, where Jarson's at, but Jay-Z hopping in, it's always good to see the Goach. We have some good times with that guy. So yeah, no, I think I got to go with Fatty.
I'd have to agree with both of you on the sides of the field of being real, you know, technical, but the Goach wins. Anyways, but like all good things, we have to come to an end. I want both of your guys' final thoughts. Thanks. Anything? I want to give you guys the floor since I've been talking a lot. you guys have been talking a lot. You probably want to, you know, sleep. We have a lot of different time zones, so whatever you guys
Yeah,
do,
I was about to say,
whatever order.
Afternoon for me. It's afternoon for me. I'll kick things off. No, it was a pleasure being here. It was a pleasure being a part of it. Shout out to Next Level Racing for putting this together on relatively short notice. I know the staff was trying to get everything going, and you know, we made the best of it. It was good fun, and I think everyone enjoyed themselves. So it was a pleasure being here, and hopefully these guys enjoy their Next Level Racing chairs. It was a pleasure seeing Point Blank play as always, and yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Cody?
I think in terms of my little final parting thoughts, it has to be a big thank you for having me on. A huge thank you as well to have some amazing APAC talent on display today. I mean, there's two teams that really are competing well in Tier 2. Challengers is no fun game, and they are putting it up for their region. So really, it is going to be a good day overall, and big thank you for having me on.
Well, of course, I'm going to end it off. Thanks to the lovely Next Level Racing crew to put on this event. Thank you to all the casters and analysts today. Both of you did a phenomenal job. And of course, thanks to Wizard. He casted with me that second matchup. I had a phenomenal time. Thanks to the production in the background, Race Spot TV. They did a fantastic job putting together, I mean, graphics last second. So many things last second. So it was just a wonderful job, everyone coming together to make this possible. So thank you, of course, to the audience for joining us at this Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Down Under Invitational with Next Level Racing. This event brought together some of the best Call of Duty players from Australia and New Zealand, along from members from the Next Level Racing community. We had 3 teams compete. 1-1 Point Blank OC, congratulations to you. Most of all, they got some Next Level Racing products, that HF8 Haptic Feedback Gaming Pad, as well as the Next Level Racing Elite Gaming Chair Leather and Suede Edition. Don't forget, guys, we had 5% off. You know, if you're in North America like me, have a good night. If you're in Australia, you know, finish off your day. If you're like Connie, you know, it's the morning. My guy, I don't know if you want to sleep. I don't know if you want to just pull an all-nighter or whatever you want to do. Thank you to everybody. You know, have a wonderful rest of whatever day it is for you. And hopefully we will see you guys around. Thanks so much.